You know,
here. What's up?
I was thinking about something.
What are we thinking about, bro?
I was thinking about what's going on in the earth, right?
What's happening in our minds?
Yeah, and I wondered, why does it matter?
We're about to find out.
Are we though? Holy shit.
It'd be cool to have a guy with a keyboard and a pencil mustache playing this shit. That'd be crazy.
He's got like rectangular black sunglasses. Welcome to Earth Mind.
He's albino.
He said, fuck it,
like
super albino.
Super white out albino.
Balls.
Bald. No hands. It's just stubs playing the keyboard.
I was going to say his feet.
Either way, it's his eyelashes. All right.
What's up, Javi?
What's going on, Franky?
Hey, that wasn't your cue.
I know. I just felt it's Friday. You know, it's Friday. It's actually Friday, February 17th to 2023.
You know, I think what we can do to start this episode off right, you know, since we've been having our differences recently, we've been arguing a lot.
Crazy.
I think
physically fighting.
Yeah, it gets bad, guys. But I think what we can do to maybe relieve some of that stress is let's do some therapy right now. Let's be each other for a moment. All right. So that way
put each other in ourselves' shoes.
So that way we can better understand what we feel about each person.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'll go first. So, you know, I'm Franky.
Okay.
Look at my hair. Yeah. It's all over the place. I once burned it one time. Did you know about that? Oh man, you know, like you want to hear about some other crazy stuff? Don't worry. I got you crazy stuff. Like this one time I walked down the street. Yeah. And then I walked down another street. And then I walked down a third street. It's crazy. And then on that fourth street, I had the best tacos of my life.
Oh yeah, man. Today. Oh, I mean, if I was you, who was me, whatever. I had the best tacos in my life today. Shout out to Salvador. I don't know if you'll ever hear this, but thank you so much for it. I can't eat tacos ever again for the rest of my life. That's how good them shits were. That's how I'm telling you, man. Like, so fucking amazing. But if I was Javi, you know, I'd be obviously wearing 16 flannels at the same time right now, and each pocket of the flannel would have an IPA. You know, working in my comic. You know, I'm probably working in my comic book, and then I got a shirt cover, and then I got to take a bath because I stink like shit. Yo, I'm sorry. I mean, the listeners won't know, but it smells so bad in here. Javi hasn't showered for 2 days. That ass doesn't even wash his hands. Motherfucker smells, bro.
Listen, man, all I gotta say is that every time that you come in here and say, I apologize if my feet stink, and I say, nah, you're good, man. I've been lying.
That shit stink.
Every goddamn time. I've just been nice.
That's all right, bro. I mean,
but, you know, this is what therapy's supposed to do.
That's what it is.
We're breaking down these walls.
Just be mean to each other and pay $7,000 an hour.
Like, we need to burst. We need to burst through that ceiling. And
how we did the fisting motion. He's like, together we fist away these problems.
Together, if we just take that wall, barrier, and just go right through.
When you go to therapy, you fist the hole that is constrained by all the memories that tighten your little asshole. You know, and the fist of truth will go in. And you'll let out a shriek of relief.
The more gaping your asshole is,
the more therapeutic
you got going on.
Yeah, the more therapeutic life is going. You know, honestly speaking. So fist yourselves for better mental health.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Put that shit on a sock.
Fists for fists.
Fists for fists. Yeah. So what are we doing today, Javi? What are we doing?
Why are you rushing it, huh? Putin over here. God damn, I was loving that joke. All day, guys, Franky's been rushing me. He's like, oh, where's my $27? Where
now it's $42.
Oh.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Well, first of all, what are we doing? I forgot what I was gonna say. Well, today we're talking about what's happening in the earth.
In our minds.
And why it matters. This is Earth, Mind, and Matter, shot in 2023, 4K. The best
episode 27.
Episode 27. No, actually, what? Episode 40?
43.
That's crazy. Shout out to Bar 43 in Sunnyside. Go there for some good drinks. And the handsome bartender called Danny.
Hey.
Tell him we sent you.
Hey.
You know?
So I got you something special.
What's up?
You're probably not gonna like it too much.
Okay, I'll take it.
But I still want to see what you think of this.
Okay, what's up?
So I don't know if you remember the conversation that we had on the show when we talked about a certain water.
Like a specific type of like brand water?
Yeah, where I told you about a water
you could advertise on?
Called Hint.
Okay. Where the fuck you been hiding those? Yo, I'm sitting across. What the fuck? So I'm sitting across Javi. I know you can't see, but Javi just pulled out 2 fucking bottles of hidden water. What the hell? How did you do that? What the fuck? This is a table in front of us, but this is like so thin. That's crazy. I'm already impressed.
So
What
you
the
know,
fuck?
I finally stumbled across them somewhere, and I was like, "Holy shit! I need to get these so I can finally show."
And it's the flavors we spoke about: the watermelon.
And then we also have cherry, so you can choose which one you want to have.
I'm a watermelon guy myself.
All right.
All right. Wait. Explain to the people what hint water is. Actually.
So we once talked about on the show that I stumbled across a brand of water called Hint Water.
Yeah.
Where I said it is the most perfect name for this water because it is literally what it is.
Okay.
It is a hint of whatever flavor in that water.
Ooh.
And it's exactly what it is. It's so self-explanatory. It's
Really?
incredible.
Okay.
Now, mind you, I never said it was great.
So it's incredible, but not great.
What's incredible is that they are advertising correctly.
And that it's actually a hint of water.
It's legitimately a hint of that flavor.
It's accurately described.
Yes.
Ooh. And then I'll read here. The ingredients are purified water and natural flavors. That's what it is.
Under the authority of Hint Incorporated.
Under the authority of those who, talk on hints. But it's also vegan and free of sugar, sweetness, MSG, nuts, soy, gluten, and preservative. Like most water.
I would hope so.
Yeah. It looks nice. I mean, I can't believe it. Last time I seen this was on the screen. So I'm actually holding it. It's kind of amazing. Holy shit.
Yeah, so let's get a taste test up in this bitch.
Get a little crack. I mean, my thumb touched it. All right, let me give it a smell. Ooh, it smells delicious.
It smells like
cheers. Cheers to hints. All right, let's go. It's all right.
Yep.
There's definitely a hint of water. Yeah, it's wait, let me get him a second sis. Hold on. Let me It got worse the second sip. What the fuck, bro? It tastes like you're about to chew a piece of gum and you pop it in. It's a fresh wrapper, but somebody already chewed the gum. That's exactly what it tastes like to me.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description of it, honestly.
This is interesting. Where'd you get this?
I had a doctor's appointment in Brooklyn, and the clinic had them. The hospital had these in the little shop.
Oh, they actually had them in the store?
Yeah.
Oh my god, man! Honestly, don't drink this. Don't even drink this. If you're
I
at
told
home.
you it wasn't very good.
Bad,
I didn't remember what it tasted like, but I was just like, I don't remember.
It just progressively gets worse. This is crazy. Thank you for the hint.
Of course,
I appreciate it.
Take that on a Beatrice.
Here's something you regret. Speaking of hints, this is super random, but I was listening to a podcast with Anthony Bourdain, and he spoke about some chef called Ferran Adria, and he's very famous. And those who cook, obviously, I won't say this correctly at all, but they asked him a question like about food being an art form, and Anthony Bourdain, this is one of the very few innovators of food being an art form. And what I found out recently through a conversation I had was that, to sum it up also, because it's not really an elongated conversation, but what he did is that he kind of made this orb of it's like a little orb, right? Kind of like a bubble. Okay. And within it, you know what olive is, right?
Mm-hmm. Nah, I never. What? Can you explain to me what an olive is?
The fuck is that? And it's basically the essence of an olive within it. It's kind of gaseous.
Okay.
And when you bite it, it's not physical. It's just kind of poof, and it has the taste of an olive. And it's called like gastro something cooking. And yeah, he made it real famous and everything. So
what the fuck?
Yeah, he had
eating bubbles on the show.
he had a restaurant that closed down in Spain. But yeah, to you foodies out there, if you're listening, I know my shit. Just barely, but I know my shit.
I just thought about how when Josh and I saw Turnstile for the first time at some point during the show, like this was like during one of the intermissions, but we just see bubbles coming across like the crowd. Yeah. And we were like, yo, what the fuck? Someone's blowing bubbles.
What's these bubbles right here?
And Josh got a little paranoid for a second. He was like, yo, man, do you think this shit's laced with anything?
The bubbles?
Yeah. I was like, what do you mean? he was like, what if there's like acid in the bubbles? Because you can absorb acid through your skin.
You can.
So he got a little paranoid. I was like, no, I don't think anyone's trying to drug a whole crowd of people like that.
Man, he must have had some bad experiences with bubbles in the past. You know, they might be cocaine in these bubbles. God damn, bro. Nah, I love bubbles. Honestly speaking, I didn't realize how much bubbles can be entertaining. But one time I had like a little thing of bubbles at home. It's a little like party toy and stuff. And I was just, playing with it. At first it was interesting, and then I just got lost for like 30 minutes, no joke, to 45 minutes. I'm just blowing bubbles, just fucking, and just looking at them. And then I was like, if a bubble, flies away and it has nothing to land on, then it'll never pop. And I'm sure it would pop, obviously, because I'm probably wrong. But it's pretty amazing how what makes a bubble pop, it's landing.
We should see. Well, I mean, I don't know, because sometimes a bubble will land and it won't pop.
Yeah, but then it will eventually.
Yeah, but the ground didn't make it pop.
Exactly. What is it? Bubbles are so poetic. that's the thing. There's a poetic beauty to bubbles, and I think it's amazing.
I think what you're trying to get at is that as humans, we too are like bubbles.
That when we land,
we soar.
Ooh.
And we fly around. Sometimes we hit the ground, and sometimes that might end us. Other times we hit the ground, but we still have life.
I'd agree, but when we don't have wings to soar and fly, and we're always on the ground.
Frankie, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You know what I was going to tell you? So I was at Chick-fil-A once at Queen Center Mall.
Oh my God! Of course you were.
Super delicious. For those that don't like, for those that don't like Chick-fil-A, that sucks for you, because that shit is delicious.
Get a load of this fucking
If you're
guy.
vegetarian and you don't eat at Chick-fil-A, well, that would make sense that you wouldn't eat at Chick-fil-A. Anyway, regardless of politics,
I bet you think they stole the election.
Yeah, probably. I don't care. The chicken is so damn good. I've asked two people, right, what are the best fast foods? And then we'll be like, talking about it, this and that. And then I'll say like, but Chick-fil-A, what do you think? Then both of them, even myself, they're like, oh, well, you don't count Chick-fil-A in that conversation, because that's like superior food to all of it. Man, if you don't eat Chick-fil-A, that sucks for you, man. Especially, I know you don't eat at Chick-fil-A, but that shit is delicious.
I mean, like it's not that I don't like eat there. I just try to not eat there as much.
I would eat there as much as I can if I could. So obviously it's bad for you, but this is beside the politics of Chick-fil-A. One day I was there, and I'm just getting a chicken sandwich and everything. I'm with Beatrice and we're hanging out. And then I guess, there was a person calling out names, like, oh, hey, Alexander, your stuff is ready. Hey, Jonathan, your stuff is ready.
Hey, yo, I see Wiener.
Yeah, I see Wiener. And this guy, I guess he called out some girl and she was there. And I'm just waiting for my sandwich. We're just both patiently waiting, like 50 Cent. And eventually some lady comes up to the guy. And I guess they get into some kerfuffle or something like that. And she just, she's like, what? What'd you say? And then she splashes him with the lemonade in front of so many people. It's a mall. It's a food court mall. God. But in the Chick-fil-A line in itself, there was about like 20 to 30 people. And there was this young, kid just standing there with, just drenched in lemonade now. And earlier, before the podcast started, I asked you, like, what would you do if you were like doing a receptionist job and the person's like being rude to you and then they spit on you? You said you'd walk away. And that's exactly what this guy did. He just walked away. But I can only imagine how infuriated he must have been, And then the funniest thing was that this person did that, and they just feel so proud of themselves for splashing a worker with lemonade, that piece of shit over there. Not the worker, the person doing the splashing. And then this mall cop comes in this like futuristic segue, just... And
what seems to be the problem here?
Yeah, he finally gets there. He's like, "What happened?" I'm like, bro, where were you? And why do you drive this dumbass vehicle? You might as well walked over here. It was disappointing on all grounds, and I wonder where that guy is today. Probably the next school shooter, to be honest with you. Yeah, it was tough to watch, and I told you, like, when I worked at Starbucks, if somebody, I was always planning. If somebody were to splash me in the face with a drink, I would just grab the whipped cream and just drench them, But I feel bad because I think, with that portrayal in movies and TV, that must happen so often, the reaction of throwing the drink in someone's face.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, like, especially when it comes to drinks, especially. It's like, no one throws food in someone's face. Like, you've never taken your Big Mac and said, yeah,
Yeah, and then it'd be so much more because you could throw the bread first and then the tomato. But
you could take the 2 pieces of bread and Gordon Ramsay them.
Exactly.
Like, you idiot sandwich.
But the drink has so much range, you know. And then if it's a hot drink, it's a bigger problem. But when is it a
and
salt?
I feel like a drink is just is more embarrassing because then now you got it all over yourself. You're wet. You're sticky.
But if you throw a cold drink at somebody, it's not a salt. But if you throw a hot drink at somebody, it's a salt.
Yeah, because hot drinks are like a weapon.
Yeah, but so a cold drink could drown.
I'm gonna keep pouring this drink on you. Fucking waterboard them with Pepsi.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You never know. You never know what's gonna happen. It's a cold world out there, man. And cola don't care if you drown, bro.
How did he die? Waterboarded by Mountain Dew.
And that's how he went. Just how he came into the world.
Baptized by Mountain Dew.
You know, I was never baptized.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I was, but I didn't get my like 3 stages, you know? What is it? Confirmation, baptism, and then the second one?
Communion.
Yeah. So I can't get married in a church, right? Sucks for you, God. I'm awesome. You missing out.
I mean, you know, really, if you just take a cross and put it in any room and start preaching, isn't it a church?
No.
Come on. Come on.
Not at all, bro. If you put a safe in your house, is it a bank?
Yeah. If you let people withdraw and deposit money in there.
It's the actions that
But that's what I'm saying. You know, you invite people over, put a cross up, and like, that's it. It's a church.
Put a cross on the safe. It's a bank church. And then a stripper pole in the strip club.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
What would be the best store to put within a strip club?
I think if you put an indoor skydiving area in a strip club, that'd be pretty dope.
Like when you just float in midair.
Yeah.
And then just have the stripper float in midair. And then you throw dollars at her, but just hit her, or just throw nickels.
It could be like a money wind tunnel.
Yeah.
You just throw all the money in there and they're just like flying around like,
just throw rocks. Sharp knives.
I'm sure every now and then there's an accident because like some drunk dude falls in the tube and starts like flying around and shit.
But at that point they deserve it. And they're not gonna hurt themselves because they just be floating.
And they're drunk, so they don't feel anything.
I think a good idea would to put a lingerie store, like a Veronica's Secret. What's it?
Veronica's Secret. Boot like Victoria's Secret.
Veronica's unsaid, you know, confessions. And then you buy the lingerie that you want the stripper to wear. But then you can also buy silly outfits too. You know what I mean?
Well, then at that point, let's just put a Spirit Halloween in there.
A Spirit... a what?
A Spirit Halloween?
What's that?
What do you mean, what's that?
That's like the stores that open up for Halloween and stuff like that? Oh, or we could put like a Spencer's. We went to Spencer's.
Yeah.
Shout out to Spencer. If
you know, I once, one time in high school, when I was going to high school here in the city.
You go on Hot Topic?
Yeah. And there was one day when my friends and I were in a Spencer's at the Queen Center Mall.
Yeah.
And we saw the vice principal of LIC.
Vice president? I was like, what the hell's like Mike Pence doing?
But yeah, we saw the vice principal of LIC High School.
Okay.
Browsing through the dildo section of Spencer's.
No way.
And we were like, and like us being kids and shit, we were like, oh my God. And we fucking like ran out of there like, do you think she saw us?
She should have been the one on the prowl though. Why is she at a Spencer's looking at the dildo section? That's kind of sus. It's a little sus. You can't get fired for that though.
No, you can't. So it was pretty funny that we saw that happen. But, you know, shout out to the vice principal of LIC High School.
Yeah, honestly.
Get it.
You get it, girl. There's 2 things that I remember being sold in Spencer's, and I'm sure all of us do. It's the candy underwear. You remember the candy underwear? Mm-hmm. That, which I don't think is a smart idea, to be honest with you.
No.
That, speaking of gynecologists that we were before in, that, and then I guess the dildos, I guess, as well. You know, nobody ever went there for the shirts. I think Spencer's was primarily you go in there, you look at the cool stuff, you come across the dildos, and you leave. They have some cool stuff though.
I don't know, man. They do get business if they're still open.
Yeah, I know. But Hot Topic was huge for a bit. I like when South Park made fun of Hot Topic. That shit was hilarious. Do you remember that?
What did they do? I don't remember actually.
I think when Butters wanted to become a vampire, so one of the things was his initiation was go to Spencer's, get goth clothes, and then drink Clamato juice.
Was that when he starts hanging out with the goth kids? Oh,
conformist.
I do remember that. And like he had, dude, that's so funny because I actually just saw a video online where they took the scene when Butters is all sad in
about to
front
kill
of the Goth
himself.
kids, and he's like sitting on the curb and he starts talking to Stan about how like he just wants to feel better.
Yeah.
And like someone is playing a Midwest emo riff on the guitar, and it just makes it sound so sad. And I was just like, this is hilarious.
I remember when Butters and Stan are talking, and Stan comes up to him, and Butters is going through his goth phase, super sad, all depressed, this and that. He wants to bite people's blood. And Stan is like, yeah, you know, I feel like a certain way and everything, and you know, I'm super sad, and I feel like I need to talk about it. And I think at the end, Butters is like, you don't gotta be such a pussy about it.
Yeah, that's exactly what he says.
And I was like, good job, South Park. You done it again, bro. Oh, actually, this is not a quick topic, but I think it's an interesting point of conversation because it came up today. So I'm sure you're aware of the Mario movie coming out. You know, okay, and the conversation. No, but how it has so much stars in there, like Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, who else?
Seth Rogen,
Chris Pratt, which I hate him as the voice of Mario, to be quite honest with you. And I hate that whole movie for making the Lion King remake where it was all like Beyonce and shit like that.
Oh.
So anyway,
did you ever watch that?
No, did you?
I did.
It was good. It was terrible, probably. You know
it wasn't terrible. It's just like,
I mean, it's not terrible because it's Lion King, you know. So there's already a basis of a good movie already made.
Yeah, like
you know,
it still hits the same beats and stuff. It's just like it doesn't have the same magic.
Not at all. I mean, I think it was ridiculous to put like realistic animals and then voices. But anyway, I was talking about how, you know, Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Obviously, I bring up this point a lot, but people, you know, in the midst of cancel culture with comedians and this and that, you know, like my biggest point, because I was talking to my friend June, shout out to June, and I was saying that like it's crazy how he landed that role for all the, you know, comedic things that he did on It's Always Sunny, for the vulgar jokes and everything, which I'm fine with. And then he was like, yeah, but you know, it was all in the same comedy and this and that their style of comedy is towards, you know, a poke at themselves basically. And then I was like, no, but Charlie Day literally said like the N-word with the hard R in It's Always Sunny. And it's kind of amazing how he was able to land the voice of Luigi.
I mean, he was also in the Lego movie.
I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Like even in those circumstances, you know, like
I just, I think what's also kind of like important to think about is that these are movies built for kids.
Outside, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's like kids don't know who Charlie Day is. They don't know him from It's Always Sunny. Kids don't go in and be like, oh, that's the guy that said the N-word.
I definitely understand you for sure, but then I always think back. My point was, well, Dave Chappelle will never get cast for a kids movie because he's more famous because the headlines make it more famous, even though he won a Grammy. Shout out to Dave Chappelle, one of the best comedians ever, because he's amazing. But you know what I'm trying to say?
What is he?
Amazing.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you.
Phenomenal, incredible, cacophony. I just like that one.
Shut up, Javi.
And but yeah, like I doubt he would. No, I'm sure he would receive backlash if he was casted for the voice of Luigi or something like that. You know?
I don't know.
I'm 1,000% sure.
I genuinely don't know. I could see it. I could see it going either way. Personally, where I'm just kind of like in the case of Charlie Day, since people don't really seem to have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Like if Dave Chappelle did like something like super wholesome in of an animated kids movie.
Yeah.
I think for the people that get upset with him, that would maybe make it better for them, where they're like, okay, like at least he's not a complete piece of shit.
Nah, I think people are so annoying with what they do and what they complain about that they would just find no reason to get mad. But either way, I'm super happy for Charlie Day. I think he's super fucking hilarious, talented. Everybody in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is, because it's a great show.
I mean, you could also say like I can't believe they casted someone like Seth Rogen, who is
but his comedy isn't as edgy towards
it's not
else,
as edgy,
you know?
but just in terms of like his personality, like
marijuana.
I mean, it's primarily, but
it's more legal. I mean, that's a different sector because it's more legal now.
No, I'm not saying it's the same thing, but just even for someone like Seth Rogen, like for to be in a kids movie and stuff like that, where it's like he's not necessarily like a role model that these people would like Hollywood would want to push him as.
Yeah, but I think it's way different because I think him and Charlie Day and Dave Chappelle are like on way different levels.
That's why I said it's not the same. Yeah. But it's just I just think that's interesting to bring up just because like I think it just boils down to like if you can do the kids movie without like making it dirty or raunchy or anything,
which
like
of course
that.
they'll do, you know,
like because Charlie Day didn't do that with the Lego movie. There's nothing like dirty or raunchy in the Lego movie.
It's just a bunch of racial slurs the whole time.
I love his character in the Lego movie. Did you ever watch that?
I think I did, but I didn't really care for it. It wasn't that good of a movie to me. I mean,
that movie is so good.
I think I just watched it a while back, and I wasn't a fan of the music. I know a lot of people like what is it? Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah, I didn't care for that shit. I was like, whatever.
I mean, it's funny. The song is funny. Like, I don't think it's a good song, but it's funny that they did that.
It was a pretty clever movie in terms of its comedy too, right? Like, it wasn't like cliche.
That movie is so funny. It's so smartly written. I think it has the cast is so good. I genuinely really like that movie a lot.
I'm sure to me the song just like kind of not in the movie but post, because it was everywhere, and I just never really enjoyed that song. So kind of fucked with me a little bit. But I'm honestly very disappointed in Chris Pratt being Mario. I hate it so much. It's so weird.
He's just doing a Brooklyn accent.
Even I don't even like Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach. Like, I don't really.
I don't think I've heard her as Peach.
None of it. I mean, of course, because you play the games and everything, so none of it matches. Like,
no, yeah. I mean, I definitely hear that. It's just like, I've definitely seen people bring up the question of just like, why didn't they just get the voice actors to do this? Yeah. And that is a good question, but I think maybe by bringing in such a big cast, it will attract more people to watch it. Yeah. Because if they just hired the voice actors who are, you could say in terms of Hollywood status, unknown, that who really just do voice acting for video games. I don't know if Hollywood cares about video games like that.
Well, I mean, kids do. Because interesting point, because you were like, well, the kids won't know who these people are, but they'll recognize the voices they hear all the time, like if they play the video games, right? But even with an all-star cast, like the kids still wouldn't. The kids that go watch that movie have no idea who all these people are. You know,
right?
Like adults would.
Yeah, but that like in terms of attracting an audience, it would be more so for like older people and stuff.
I guess
like,
so, but it should be for the kids.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, you're not getting it.
Not today.
Nah, you're not getting it.
Not today, bro.
I turned over a new leaf. I'm not that man anymore.
No more for the kids.
No more for the kids.
For the pedos.
No.
Definitely
absolutely not. Just
trying to slip it in there.
Hey, what are you trying to slip in?
We'll get them next time, pedos. We'll get them next time. But I don't know, whatever. I mean, that was just the interesting point of discussion that I had today, and I was like, I'll bring it up today because, I mean, still, I just think that it's very interesting with the whole Dave Chappelle thing and with Charlie Day, and just where I think, again, like I think we mentioned this on the last podcast, but cancel culture isn't as prominent or like as effective as it was before because of people overcoming it, or I think people realizing how ridiculous of a concept it really is, But it's still very interesting how it still plays part into like taking away roles. And just like Justin Roiland, like from Rick and Morty, of course, you said it was him that resigned from Adult Swim and stuff like that, right?
He resigned from the video game.
Publisher. Yeah, so it's very ominous in terms of the detail. Actually, I just got an article that says what really happened, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't read it because I forgot about it, but I'll check it out if anything. But man, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, there was something that I saw too yesterday as I was doing the last touches here on my notes and shit. But fucking Bruce Willis.
Yeah, he has a disease.
Yeah, he's got dementia.
Yeah, I thought at first it was just the speech disease and everything.
No.
Yeah, he has dementia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I saw it when I saw it today. It was I saw a little post that says he has, but it's not called dementia. It's like something else, right?
I mean, that's what the headline said.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, let me see. I think it's a particular type of like brain malfunction or anything. Because I saw it, but I was like, this is old news already.
I don't know, man. I saw multiple headlines saying that.
It says that actor. Actor Bruce Willis has frontotemporal dementia. So let me read this real quick. It says, Willis' family said last year the actor would be stepping away from his decades-long career due to his impaired condition. Frontotemporal dementia, also known as FTD, is one of the several types of dementia and causes nerve damage in the frontal and temporal lobes, which leads to a loss of function in those areas. And the last thing it says is there are different types of frontotemporal dementia. Behavioral variant frontotemporal dementia causes nerve loss in the areas of the brain that control empathy, judgment, and conduct. There are medications that can help relieve symptoms, but the disease will eventually get worse over time. Oh, damn. Yeah. My bad. I mean, bro. That's from NPR, by the way. Good little news source. That fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Man. And when I seen him in Pulp Fiction the other day, because I fucking love that movie. And I'm like, look at young old Bruce Willis. And I saw a post not too long ago where it was just saying like he's not very big on social media now.
Yeah.
But like when he does, like he'll just show pictures of him and his daughter and everything. And that's fucking unfortunate, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it sucks. Like Bruce Willis genuinely seems like a pretty decent guy.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of Hollywood actors and stuff. Like
His normal ass life and everything.
Yeah, like he just seems like he was just doing him. Like he didn't really. I can't really think of like any or much controversies.
Pretty much just him being in
career.
films. It's sad because that's when like life gets real. Where like you would think, and I'm sure a lot of people do like with celebrities. Like you think, oh, everything's all chill with them, like they just are. But then you think of like, was it Chadwick Boseman?
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman, like him having the cancer. Even the comedian, God, I can't remember names today. Fucking this guy, he passed away from cancer. I forget his name. Sorry, guy. And then Bruce Willis and just
sorry,
you know, just I mean, he's not gonna hear it, and it's just sad, man. It happens, you know, and that's really unfortunate, bro. Because this is a b-hole, not really, but this whole conversation is. But they want to start shooting Rust again. Yeah, that's kind of crazy, right? I think did I show you, or you
sent it to me.
So for those that don't know, Alec Baldwin, the murderer, he's the one that shot like the cinematographer and the director of Rust by accident.
He shot the cinematographer. I forget who he shot exactly, but
somebody else
on set was shot,
and the director, right?
I think it was just one person.
No,
I could be wrong.
It was one person he killed.
It's been so long now.
It was one person he killed and one person he injured.
You know, that's the first thing we talked about in our test episode. The first test episode. Yeah.
That happened then?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. I don't remember that.
Like we were just sitting here just being like, so. Yeah.
Alec Baldwin was.
And you were like, oh, so Alec Baldwin shot someone. And I was like, yeah.
That's when I tried to shoot the show with no prep, just the laptop open with news. And like slowly minutes in, I'm like, this is the worst idea in the world, bro. This is so tough to do, man. If you think it's easy to just pull, I mean, some people maybe will do it. I definitely can. You need to know shit. You can't just talk a headline for fucking ever. But now I pick up a lot more information because obviously we're going to talk for it later on. But yeah, anyway, in the, you know, if you haven't heard, he killed a person and then he injured another, and then they said he was good, right? He wasn't guilty. And then they want to sue again, but they're still going to continue shooting the movie, which I think is a dumb idea. They should just not complete that movie. You get me?
And you know what I bet they're saying too? We have to finish this movie for her.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, more like for the budget that we just spent on shooting this shit.
We can't just let this go to waste.
Yeah,
we can't just let her life go to waste.
Yeah, in fact, after all this money, I mean, not the money. I mean, of course it's for her, but we can't let her go to and just shoot the guy. Yeah, but it's super dumbass idea, man. I think it's just walking on eggshells, as they say, as the Dominicans say.
Then the crackly eggshells.
Hold on. Talk to the people real quick. I gotta take a piss.
This fucking guy.
Javi's gonna keep you entertained because that's his job.
What the fuck? He's celibate. He drank barely any of his hint water and he already has to fucking pee. This is ridiculous, guys. Well, don't worry. I got you guys. You're here with me, Javi. I got you. And you're going to have a pretty good episode today, guys. I'll give you a little sneak peek, but we're going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff today. Got some quickies for you, and then we're going to jump straight into the news. Going to be talking about some environmental crises going on. Ooh, tree hugger Javi. And then we're going to be talking a bit about some VR. I got some exciting VR stuff I want to talk about. It's not really exciting. Well, you'll understand. But yeah, I was pretty hyped to do this episode, guys. I think this is going to be a goodie. I got some pretty good topics for you. Fucking Franky's been rushing me all day, guys. Don't tell him. I don't want him to hear me, but he's been rushing me all day. I think he might be Vladimir Putin. I'm just saying it right now. If he's Russian this hard, he's Vladimir Putin. There's no other way to explain it. But yeah, gonna talk at a normal volume now that I'm done talking shit about Franky. So, if he can hear me from the bathroom, that's fine. But nah. We did a therapy session at the beginning of the episode. I don't got to talk shit about him. I'm over that now. I love the guy. Oh, fuck. What?
That bladder. Sometimes that bladder gets full.
Whose ladder?
B ladder. It's a B ladder. It's my best friend. But when I was taking the pictures now, though, great experience. And you know what I noticed?
What?
There was a hint of watermelon in the air. just a hint. just a hint, the slightest dash of watermelon.
You were standing there and you went,
yeah. And I took a little taste and I was like, tastes like a little bit of watermelon.
They nailed it.
Yeah,
They fucking nailed it.
Yeah, I should have took my cup in there and pissed in it so I could just have it. But thankfully we have our sponsor, Hint Watermelon.
Hint Water.
Not a sponsor.
We should make our own Hint flavor of just piss.
Just piss, right?
Like just put a couple drops of piss in some water and just be like, Hint, baby.
Call it golden showers. Golden showers refreshment.
Well, no, because we still want it to look like water. So you have to drink a lot of water before you piss in it, and so it can be clear.
And just ingest watermelon essence. It's crazy stuff, man.
Riveting.
Very riveting. It's not that riveting. But yeah, man, fucking. But yeah. I have a quick topic, but I don't know if it's gonna be one of your topics. But I didn't really read into it. I don't know, cheesecake.
Nah.
Okay. Well, basically, I definitely remember this loosely. So who's Lucy? Let me just look it up real quick because it's very. It's a cheesecake murder. So
did someone die by cheesecake?
Something like that. Hold on. What the fuck? There's a book called Cheesecake Murder. Fuck. I do not remember the name. Let's see. Woman murders woman. Yeah, it's a murder.
Oh
murders
my God.
Woman look-alike. That's what it is. I know what it is.
What the fuck?
Okay. So the woman killed a look-alike and tried to fake her death. Right. So in Ingolstadt, it's in Germany. Silly Germans.
Ingolstadt.
A 23-year-old German Iraqi woman was later to be found. I'm fucking up. German Iraqi woman was later found to be American blogger. I'm gonna just read the first thing. It says a 23-year-old German Iraqi woman sought out a lookalike on Instagram and murdered her with a friend in order to fake her own death.
The fuck?
So basically, she say we looked exactly like each other, and I try to murder you, and then just to fake
took a picture of my
death.
body, and you're like, I'm dead.
I'm dead. Sent at today. That's so selfish of her. Why would she do that, bro? That's
crazy.
That's crazy. I don't know why cheesecake was involved, but something like that.
They're probably eating cheesecake, and she came in. Maybe she gave her poison cheesecake.
Ooh. That'd be the most delicious way to go.
I gotta write a story about cheesecake now.
Honestly, man, cheesecake is not that good, but it's delicious.
Okay.
Some cheesecake is pretty ass.
Yeah,
you know?
there's definitely bad cheesecake out there. You know,
you know those frozen cheesecakes you find in like Walmart or something. Oh my god, man! My sister brought that home one day. Demolished that shit, bro. I've been eating mad Captain Crunch lately, bro.
Captain Crunch.
God damn, that shit is so.
Like OG Captain Crunch or like the fruity one?
No, OG Captain Crunch. I mean, I had some berry one. I don't really like the berry one, but it's funny. I read an article a while back. This is how I know I gotta stop. CC Sabathia, he's a pitcher on the Yankees, right? He might still be. He actually was on an article in the New York Post, and the headline was CC Sabathia cuts out Captain Crunch due to weight gain. And he was saying that he was eating like 1 to 2 bowls a day. And that's why he got so big. So one of the ways he lost weight was to cut off Captain Crunch.
That's so funny.
I don't blame him, man. That shit is addicting. Last night I had a bowl for no reason. I had no right having that bowl of Captain Crunch. And I'm lactose intolerant. So I was farting, bro. It was smell like ass and Captain Crunch.
My cousin Chino, he it's like a running joke in the family where this guy loves cereal. Like he absolutely loves cereal.
Who doesn't love cereal?
Like,
you know?
Now I'm telling you, this guy will have it. Like how this pitcher was having it. He was having like 1 or 2 bowls of cereal a day.
Man, but it's so good, bro. And I pour myself so much, knowing damn well I shouldn't pour. Like, yeah, I got a family, bro. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody else poured cereal. And you pour a lot of milk in your cereal or nah?
Yeah.
I pour like 1/4 of the bowl.
I go about like halfway.
That's way too much. But do you drink the milk afterwards? Yeah. All right, you're a good person.
Who the fuck just spills all that out?
I don't know, man. Beatrice be serving herself a gallon of milk.
What the fuck?
And she just be spreading the rest of the milk out, man.
What a waste.
What a waste, bro.
Oh my God.
Yeah, in this economy?
Yo, the next time I see her, I'm going to be like, oh, look who it is.
The milk waster.
The milk waster.
Now, my favorite cereal is with breast milk.
Oh, yeah? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Josh sent me a TikTok and sometimes when you he sent the link through a text, when you open a TikTok text link, it'll open up TikTok and show you like the first thing right away on your For You page before it goes to whatever the person sent you.
Okay.
So the very first thing that I saw on my For You page was some girl just taking out her titty and
what the fuck?
fucking breastfeeding her baby.
Oh, okay. I thought. Oh, okay. Not all. I was gonna say. I thought she took out her titty and poured it in the bowl and then served it.
No.
I was like, what the fuck?
But I was just like, I opened TikTok and I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, why are, and it had like so many likes and so many comments.
You were like,
I'm like, what the fuck?
Nah.
Why are people just watching women lactate on
This
TikTok?
is Javi's reaction. He opened it up and he was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like, damn, am I alone right now?
You feel that, baby.
Damn, girl.
Damn, girl. You
Pretty good. Damn,
Yeah, I bet there's a bunch of calcium in those.
Oh, man, love vitamin D.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, getting flustered. Oof, it's getting hot in here. Oof, my bad. Sorry. You know, honestly, I wouldn't mind if somebody breastfed in front of me. You know what I mean? I don't know why people got so upset. I feel like,
I mean, the whole, I did see in the comments, people were like,
How dare she?
The top thing was just kind of like normalized breastfeeding.
Yeah. But then it's like posting on Instagram. I feel like there's a little bit of like enforced sexuality on that. Cause it's like, first of all, okay. You don't have to do this on social media. You know
Yeah,
what
it's
I
like,
mean?
I get it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you want me to be comfortable around breastfeeding, but I'm not trying to look at titties right now.
Yeah,
Like,
and even then, like you had to take out the camera first and then set it to record. Like that's minutes wasted. For your baby's hungry. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I'm really doing something right now. Let me whip up these fucking jugs and feed my kid. And this kid got grow up like, Mom, why'd you do that? Like just
her
do it.
kid is going to grow up to see that TikTok and be like, Mom, what the fuck?
Like, Mom, that's kind of hot.
On some Oedipus shit.
Yo, fact. It's a good book. It's a classic. That's when he smashes his own mom, right? I was talking with like Danny and Brian the other day, and it's so funny, man. They were like talking about like banging girls, but they use the word banging a lot, and I just kept laughing because it's like the use of the word banging seems so like old school,
Childish almost.
Yeah, like oh, you banged her, and it's like this is so funny, bro. Like what the hell? I don't even care about the premise. Just the word bang. And
Every time they say bang, you're like,
yeah. I just start breastfeeding. Just any random person.
you're like, yo, who needs milk? I'm lactating right now.
Men can breastfeed, right?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Hey, Google, can men breastfeed?
She's like, are you retarded?
She's like, are you fucking kidding me?
EU.au. They say, can men breastfeed? The answer is yes. There are historical records of men breastfeeding their infants.
What the?
Was unable to because of illness or death.
Wow.
Ask me, is it possible for fathers to breastfeed?
That's
Want to hear the answer?
No.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Google. For those that haven't heard, yeah, Google said there's historical moments in time when men have breastfed. I don't know. I'm ticklish as fuck. So if a kid tries to breastfeed me, I'm slapping the shit out of him. No. I said if a kid tries to breastfeed me.
I don't want your titty milk.
Leave me alone. Maybe later after a couple of drinks. That'd be pretty funny. Kid trying to breastfeed. He just chasing me in his diaper. I'm like, get away.
Take my titties.
Any kids want to breastfeed Javi? Come on the phone. Speaking of pedos. It's gross.
Earth-minded pedo.
NAFTA. You know what that is? National... no, is it NAFTA or the National Association for Boy Loving Men?
Yeah.
NABLA?
You mentioned that before on the show.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, indeed.
The other day, I was very tempted to have a drink. I mean, I usually, honestly, so I haven't had a drink for like 2 months, right?
Okay.
Ish. And it really isn't a big deal. Like, I don't really preach about it. I'm like, yeah, you guys shouldn't be drinking. You know, I can give a fuck less. But the other day, I was playing pool at a bar with Brian and Anthony, literally yesterday, actually. And yeah, it was just tempting, man. It was like I wanted to have not a beer, like a drink, you know?
Interesting.
And I didn't.
You know, it's just.
Let me taste this nasty hidden water.
I've heard from like other people that like that have like quit drinking and stuff because they've had like drinking problems or stuff like that. That like they can't even be in a bar anymore and stuff because like it's just too tempting for them.
I can see that
because like it's just that environment just welcomes that idea of like, oh, I'm here
for sure.
I should drink.
Yeah,
or
I
gotta drink.
I think Eminem, like when he performs in the green room, like nobody's allowed with any alcohol at all. anything. And I think if I'm not mistaken, it was Seth Rogen who, when he was younger, was able to go meet Eminem. Like no alcohol, no weed, no nothing. Like I think he's totally sober. And Seth Rogen, this is in his book, that he went to go see Eminem, and he was in the green room. And yeah, I think he had like a drink in his hand, and the bouncer was like, "Yo, what are you fucking doing? Like, there's no drinks allowed in that green room at all." So I think it's interesting, man, because especially at high status like Eminem, and I was listening to Relapse the other day. That's like one of his albums where it's just all drugs. Like one of the choruses for a song is like, "My mom." Like something Valium, and like it's so crazy. And my mom, it's so good. But yeah, his story must be crazy for how serious he is now and everything compared to before. But that's a whole different story. For me, it's just like I'm trying to save money, and my favorite thing to be is like when the tab comes and all I gotta do is pay for my guac and chips, like $13. Like that's the biggest motivation for me, like saving money and shit like that. Because that shit is fucking adds up. You know what I mean? That shit adds up like crazy. And but yeah, no, that's just shout out to anybody who's like they're not I won't say controlling themselves, like discipline themselves in any form, like harder things, like like meth. But for me, I'm just trying to save money. But in April, that's when I have my first drink.
I always have a bit of a problem like with people who don't really smoke, but they drink a lot and stuff, and they kind of like look down on people that like smoke a lot.
That's dumb. I think so.
Or kind of like question like, oh my God, you spend a lot of money on weed.
Yeah, no,
like I've had people ask me before, like, how much do you spend on weed? And I'll tell them how much, and they're like, oh, that's a lot. And I'm like, well, how much do you spend on your alcohol? Think about it.
And I think they both add up. Like being someone who smoked a lot before and like even like drank before a lot too. And they both add up a lot. Yeah,
I'm not trying to say that smoking weed is less expensive, but it's just like it's like a double standard almost, where it's just kind of like you're spending just as much money as me.
And I think the alcohol thing is like when you're drinking. I mean, the thing is that you could be high by yourself if you're really comfortable with yourself and be out and just have a chill time and stuff like that. But when someone's drinking, like they always want somebody to drink with. You get me? And I think I don't know. It's very interesting.
It's so funny that you even said that because Brian and I once had a conversation about like drinking by yourself and whatnot. And I was like, I do that pretty often where it's like, I'll have like a night where I just like, I'll have like a few beers and play like a video game, like a single player game. And just, that's all I do.
Just chill the fuck out.
And like, Brian's like, nah, I can never do that. That feels so lonely, this and that. I'm like, I'm chilling, man. It's just like, I don't know. Like I'm perfectly capable of drinking on my own without it being like some sad shit where I'm like, oh my God, I'm all by myself.
In the end, it doesn't even matter. And you're just having like one like White Claw. A Truly.
Tears are running down my face while I drink a mango White Claw.
Man,
life is so hard, man.
Things are really tough right now. I gotta go to work tomorrow.
You sounds like you're doing your devil voice now.
No, I was gonna. My voice. I remember your voice is crazy.
Which voice?
No, but I think one thing that I think he might be referring to, or maybe I'm mistaken, but to me, drinking alone, I think I can do. Like I don't really like love to, only because it's just like being in a bar is like much better. I think so, just because the environment, it's so much more. Like your senses are more like, taking, what's the word? Like, you're just sensing more, like sound, people and everything. But I think drinking at a bar by yourself, to me, it's very awkward for me. Like I do enjoy to do it. And I usually do it when I take notes. Like when I go home, I'll stop by this bar, like on the way to my house. And it's pretty chill because it's so dark in there and the music's so loud where I can just sit in the corner and just take my notes and just have a couple of drinks and everything. But, at first I wasn't really able to do that. Now I kind of prefer it, but it's back and forth. I don't think it's lonely, but I think it's just like if you're drunk as shit, like you're fucking about blackout, and then you go to bars by yourself and everything. That's when it gets crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and again, when I drink by myself, I don't get shit faced. Yeah, right? Like I just do it to chill out. I'll have like a few beers, that's it, and just leave it at that. Like I'm not taking shots. I'm like, let's get fucked up, and there's no one in the room. Like, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't do that.
You're just schizophrenic. I'm not even here. I don't even exist.
Huh? It's like that scene in Joker. Yeah, everything starts to make sense now.
For real. Yeah, but I don't know. When I try to do my notes and I drink at a bar and then some bartender starts talking to me, I'm like, here we go.
Oh my God, shut the fuck up.
No tips for you. But yeah, I mean, fuck it. If you listen to this podcast right now, drinking and driving, we encourage it. Just kidding.
I was like, what?
Just kidding. Now be careful out there, folks.
Please
be careful out there.
don't listen to Frankie.
No.
He wants you to hurt yourself.
I don't even exist.
Yeah, he ain't real.
Yeah, man.
So wait, does that mean I'm telling them that?
Yeah, man. It's like Fight Club.
Oh my God.
Not to spoil anything. Pretty much spoiled it if you haven't watched it.
But we can't talk about it. So
we don't talk about that.
Yeah, we can't.
Shut the fuck out, people. Just breastfeed me.
Calm down. Just suck a titty and let's move on.
That's honestly the best advice you can give somebody. You know what I mean? Unless they don't have a mouth. Then just fucking what's the motorboat titty and just one titty.
Can we get that on a shirt? Suck a titty and move on.
That's good advice. Well, how would you feel? I asked this to a friend of mine the other day. How would you feel if, like, you're getting spicy with some girl with text and everything, or guy, whatever, and then they send you, like, they're like, oh, you want me to send you something? And then you're like, yeah. And say it's a girl, and they send you a titty pic, right? But it's one titty only, and everything else is blacked out. Like, so it's literally just the one titty, and like there's nothing else in
like
the background.
Photoshopped almost.
Yeah. Oh no, but like the lighting was so perfect that they purposely sent it so you can only see the one titty. Like, how would you feel?
I'd be like, where's the rest? I'd be like, where's the other shoe?
Where's the other 50%? Yeah, I think I had the same reaction, but I asked the question. It was fucking funny though. Yeah.
You know, it's a real question. Henry asked me this. Say if you had a dick up your ass and a knife in your back.
You mean every Thursday?
At the same time.
Okay.
Which one do you take out first?
Do I have an option of leaving both of them in?
I mean, if that's what you want to do, I guess.
If I had, I would. How would you not? I think technically speaking, you would only be able to take out both at the same time. You know?
Why is that?
Well, because you would have to pull yourself, and at the same time, your back isn't distant from your asshole. You know, they're both literally aligned with each other. You know, unless you got a fat ass.
I mean, like that's like if the knife isn't directly in the middle of your back, but like, what if it's like on the side of your back or your shoulder blade or something like
Still
that?
Still your back.
Yeah, but it's not like lined up with your asshole.
100% it is. Like, it literally is connected to it. It literally
the whole
leads
body's
down.
connected.
That's what I'm saying.
That's like saying my mouth and my asshole are lined up because it's on the same body.
But those are on opposite sides, you know? Like, the better question is, if you were stabbed in the chest and then the back, which one do you pull out first? The chest?
But I'm talking. But the important aspect of this is a dick in your butt. I mean, what do you do with that dick in your butt? Do you leave it and take the knife out first? Like, what's coming out first?
I would pull them both out and then put the knife in my asshole and put the dick on my back.
That's exactly what I told Henry. That's literally what I told him. I said I'd take both of them out and just replace them.
And he has glasses.
Plug up the holes and stuff. But then when I gave him my serious answer, I was like, seriously though, I'd probably take the dick out of my ass first.
Yeah, so uncomfortable.
Because I would imagine that would be more uncomfortable than a knife in my back. Because, like, you know, as long as you keep the knife in there. I'm pretty sure we're wrong. As long as you keep the knife in there, you're not going to bleed out or anything.
Yeah, you're supposed to keep the knife in there. For those in the future that get stabbed, if you get stabbed and the person no longer has a knife in their hand, leave the knife in and then go to the hospital. Like you're supposed to. So actually speaking.
So don't get stabbed though. So with that logic, I was like, I'll leave the knife in my back, and until someone can help me with it, I'm gonna leave the knife in my back. But I can't walk to get this knife out of my back if I have a dick up my ass.
What a vicious criminal, and how coordinated does he have to be?
Right? Just like the 1-2.
I'll be like, I have mixed feelings.
And there's that one guy that's like,
he's into both. While both are into him. Oh, but yeah, man. Yeah, riveting conversation, honestly. Riveting. Yeah. But I heard you got some topics for me.
Yeah, this has been like the longest opening that we've had in a while.
I think so.
I do got some quickies for you.
Okay.
I won't go them. I won't take too long with them. First one, I just wanted to bring this up because this is kind of wholesome.
Okay.
But there's a Pennsylvania boy who is 9 years old and has become one of the youngest ever high school graduates.
Nice. Good for him. That's nice. I don't know how. He just skipped every grade.
He's just that fucking smart. He's a 9-year-old boy from Pennsylvania who loves science, computer programming, and he's become one of the youngest ever high school graduates and has already started accumulating some credits toward his college degree.
Sounds like a kiss ass to me. I bet you he'd like the knife and dick in his. Just kidding.
And the
Just
textbook
kidding.
up his ass.
Not good for him. You can't. They don't show his name, right? Because it's too young.
No, his name is David Balogun.
Shout out to David Balogun.
And he recently received his diploma from Reach Cyber Charter School.
It's just a very low standard school.
2 + 2. You did it.
It is a degree. Nice.
But that school is based in the state's capital of Harrisburg.
Nice.
And,
Where's that?
It's in Philadelphia.
Oh, I didn't say that.
But yeah, the only other person that is younger than David is a Michael Kearney, who still holds the Guinness World Record for youngest high school graduate when he set the record at 6 years old in 1990.
So David Bogan ain't shit. Respectfully.
He ain't 3 years of shit.
Yeah, he's kind of trash. He's, but good for him.
This Michael Kearney kid, when he beat the record at 6 years old in 1990.
6 years old is crazy.
Yeah. He also obtained his master's degree at 14 and at 18 started playing game shows where he won more than $1 million on game shows.
And now he works at a Staples.
I couldn't find that information. I tried looking him up.
I'm sure he's well off right now. Good for both of them, man. That's crazy shit.
Yeah, and so just shout out to that kid. And he just says that he says, I want to be an astrophysicist and I want to study black holes and supernovas. That's what he wants to do once he completes his education.
Boring ass.
And just to show how smart he is, when asked about his teachers engaging him with his studies and who pushed him to keep progressing, he said, they didn't bog me down. They advocated for me, saying he can do this, he can do that.
Yeah, I mean he's smarter than the actual staff, more than like. So I mean, it's like I don't take advice from people less successful than me. That's his whole life right there.
But yeah, there's some conversation within his family about what college to send him to. His dad says, am I going to throw my 9-year-old into Harvard while I'm living in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conversation about what are they going to do with this kid when he's ready to go to like an actual university.
I mean, he should move to where Harvard is. You know what I mean?
The whole family should just go.
Honest, I mean, he's not the 9-year-old that you're talking about at first. He's not the one that won money in the game shows, right? Okay, so the other one probably could have, but this one probably couldn't have. That's really amazing, though. Holy shit!
Yeah, so shout out to this kid.
Yeah,
I saw that. I was like, good for him.
Yeah,
I just wanted to shout out this kid on the show. That's the first quickie I got for you.
Nice.
This next one I got for you is kind of interesting. There was a ban on marijuana users owning guns that was labeled as unconstitutional.
Wait,
so
what?
So there was a ban on marijuana users owning guns. So if you were a marijuana user, you couldn't own a gun.
Oh, I thought,
and they
I thought you
labeled
said,
that as unconstitutional.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's like, what, you can drink alcohol and own a gun, but you can't smoke weed. Oh, at first, I thought you said there's a band, like a musical band.
No.
Oh, so like where?
So this happened in Oklahoma, where there was a whole situation where U.S. District Judge Patrick Wyrick, an appointee of a former Republican President Donald Trump in Oklahoma City, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
He dismissed an indictment against a man charged in August with violating that ban, saying it infringed his right to bear arms under the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment.
Yeah, so that makes no sense whatsoever because I don't think that has any effect. I mean, I guess if you were like, I don't even consider this anywhere close, but if you were in rehab, I guess, and had past crime from using a drug, but even then, no, if you could drink and you can smoke it on a gun, you could drink it on a gun,
Yeah, the person in question is a Jared Harrison.
Trash.
And
no, I'm kidding. not him.
The district judge said, quote unquote, mere status as a user of marijuana justifies stripping him of his fundamental right to possess a firearm. And he also said, that using marijuana was, quote unquote, not in and of itself a violent, forceful, or threatening act.
It's actually the furthest you can be from a violent, forceful act.
Yeah. And the judge also noted that Oklahoma is one of a number of states where the drug still illegal under federal law can legally be bought for medical uses. So it's medical in Oklahoma.
It's so weird that they would try that, and especially like you said, it was Donald Trump or somebody stemming from Donald Trump.
Someone that worked with Trump.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me because like I imagine Donald Trump would be okay with marijuana because it's such big on money, and marijuana is gonna be a booming business if not already. You know, and
I actually have been seeing some conversations about how there's some trouble for the industry right now.
Yeah.
That apparently sales haven't been doing too well.
Yeah, because it's not legal everywhere yet. I think once it becomes legal everywhere, that'll completely change. But I think this is what I think it is, and this is off a whim. Just because there's so much people trying to manufacture weed right now, not manufacture, trying to say, like sell and everything in so many areas, and for
supply.
Supply. And yeah, basically there's no demand because it's restricted, So I think once weed is legal in all states, it would be great. And I think like Texas should lead that way. First of all, that governor Greg Abbott is a piece of shit. He's the worst, absolute worst. But yeah, I don't know, man. That's probably why I think so though, because at the point that it's legal in all states, it'll be a booming business like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I never read the article, so I'm not too sure exactly what the issue is where it's like having troubles right now. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that story. But just there were some pretty good comments in Reddit for this story where X Atlas 5 said, "Good. I trust a stoner with a gun more than I would an alcoholic."
Honestly.
Estelix responded, "There's a good chance we'd forget to load it for starters." Ginger LaFiend said, "Because we forgot the super safe place we stashed the ammo." Creos to Flower said, "And the combination to the gun safe." State Park Masturbator, it's clearly a combination of 4, 20, and 69, but I'll be damned if I can remember the order. Oh well, back to eating Cheetos and watching cartoons.
Honestly.
And lastly, What a Croc says, "Can we all just get a bong?"
That is awesome, bro. The most creative people on that fucking site. But yeah, that's such a weird, like, old school type of news that I'm not surprised, But there is an artist group. This all messed up a lot, but I read this in the New Yorker, where there's an artist called like something Konokoninov, whatever it is, like an artist. But the protest group or like art group is called Pussy Riot in Russia.
Okay.
And just to give you a sense of what they've done, like they had like, what is it when like an exhibit almost, I guess, but I'm completely using the wrong word, where they had like, they went on the top of a prison where like I'm fucking this up, but I'll bring it up next time, where within the prison were two people during this whole Russia and Ukraine, thing that's still going on. And on top of the prison or in front of it, they had like group sex as like a big presentation, right? As like an artist, like, whatever. And they also make music where like they're really bad musicians, but they didn't care. So they wrote music and like Death to Putin and all that stuff. And it sounds like kind of like a modern, like, like artists would just draw a circle in the middle. But they were able to raise $7 million for the front line of the Ukrainians.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of crazy, right?
That's crazy.
That's really impressive. So that was actually going to be one of my stories for next week. So I messed up completely. But yeah, I thought that was really dope because at first when I was reading it, I was like, this sounds dumb. But then $7 million is $7 million. And I'm sure there's some incentive to donate or buy because it's going for the front line. But regardless of anything, that's still a lot of money.
They still earned a lot of money.
Yeah, man.
They did what they did.
Yeah, man. And they fucked for Ukraine. Yeah, man. And
that, you heard it here first, folks. Whip out your dick for Ukraine.
They banged.
They banged. Go bang for Ukraine.
Go bang for $7 million. But yeah, man, I don't know. Do you think Putin will die anytime soon?
I mean, not anytime soon, I don't think.
He's sick. They say he's sick. That's what they say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of people say he's sick, that he has cancer. I don't know if I talked about this in the show, and how true it is, but I'm pretty sure it is. Just pretty sure. Apparently, Putin has somebody that walks around with him that when he goes to the bathroom, either like he poops and the person will collect his poop and put it in a briefcase because they don't want nobody to find out anything about him. So the guy's job is to like, take out the poop from the toilet or just make sure there's no excrement left in order to like get DNA swabs of Putin. Whenever he travels like to anywhere else.
Sure,
crazy,
man.
right?
Sure.
I read that somewhere, so
that's some classified shit.
What a shitty job. It's a good one.
The last quickie I got for you, this one's really cool actually. Someone online found the original letter or sort of speech that President Nixon would have gave if the Apollo 11 mission never succeeded.
That's when they got to the moon first.
That's when they actually got to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So
supposedly.
Yeah. So someone online through voice synthesis recreated Nixon's voice
as a speech
so that we can hear this speech.
No way.
So that we could imagine what it would have sounded like if the Apollo 11 mission failed.
No way.
And it's a minute long, so I'm just going to play it.
Nice.
Because it's really cool. It's really interesting. And it's just insane to think about how different the world would have been if this actually happened.
Yeah.
But
haha, Russia.
Here we go.
Fate has ordained that the men who went to the moon to explore in peace will stay on the moon to rest in peace. These brave men, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, know that there is no hope for their recovery. But they also know that there is hope for mankind in their sacrifice. These two men are laying down their lives in mankind's most noble goal, the search for truth and understanding. They will be mourned by their families and friends. They will be mourned by the nation. They will be mourned by the people of the world. They will be mourned by a Mother Earth that dared send two of her sons into the unknown. In their exploration, they stirred the people of the world to feel as one. In their sacrifice, they bind more tightly the brotherhood of man. In ancient days, men looked at the stars and saw their heroes in the constellations. In modern times, we do much the same, but our heroes are epic men of flesh and blood. Others will follow and surely find their way home. Man's search will not be denied. But these men were the first, and they will remain the foremost in our hearts. For every human being who looks up at the moon in the nights to come will know that there is some corner of another world that is forever mankind.
It's so strange. That's a good speech.
Right.
And it kind of gives me this like disappointing thing about like how maybe they do have two speeches at hand for when things are going to happen and how like pre-written things are. Like, even though maybe it's not to say like, you know, conspiracy wise, like, oh, like this and that, but how not genuine these things are, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, when you're at that high level of a power, you do have to sort of prepare for whatever can happen.
Honestly speaking,
like
even for the show, we got to prepare what's going to happen.
Yeah. So it's just, I thought this was so cool.
Yeah, that is
just
dope.
like imagine how different the world would have been if this is what we heard on the news that day.
Man, if a lot of things would have been different, man. Like I've been watching a lot of these history videos, and they just fuck me up, bro, because they're so crazy. For those that just want some random shit to look up YouTube, look up Hanoi Hilton and from the Vietnam War. That's like some crazy prison camp they had. That's all I got for you. Nah, I got more, but I just can't think of any right. But shout out to Simple History on YouTube. They're fucking incredible videos. I love their videos. They make it real simple for sure. And it's just cool stuff, man, that always comes up later on in different areas. Yeah, man. And also Insider Business on YouTube. Their videos are phenomenal, bro.
Okay.
They just talk about crazy things in the world. Mostly businesses and food. Like how like Mizuyaki mangoes, like two of them go for like $400.
What the fuck?
Yeah, $400. And then like chichanillas in Mexico, there's like these little bugs that grow on cacti, right? And then they use them to make a red dye, and they've been using it for so long. Like even like British redcoats used it off Mexico and everything, and how they're so scarce now. I mean, I've been watching so much random shit, man. It's crazy. Yeah, it's real Insider Business and Simple History. I strongly recommend them. Yeah, check them out.
But yeah, those are the quickies I had for you.
Nice.
So we can just dive right into the news section.
Let's fucking do it, man. That's what we do here on this show.
So I got 3 topics for you.
Okay.
One of them is pretty new in terms of when I wrote this down, because I had I'll tell you in a sec. Okay. But the 3 stories that I got today is about the crisis with Lakes Mead and Powell and the Colorado River.
Okay.
So we're going to look at that. The next story is the train derailment fiasco.
You know, it's funny, man. A lot of people have been talking to me about that, and I have no idea that happened. In Ohio?
In Ohio.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
The train derailment is a new addition to my
Got you. Because a lot of conspiracies are coming up from that, and it's crazy actually timing when that a lot of jokes have been coming out about Ohio. Like That's the average meal. You have you seen that on the internet?
No.
Where it's like it'll be like some bland ass meal or some weird meal like frog legs and human eyeballs, and it'll be like, yeah, that's an average meal in Ohio. And then this happened. Yeah, that's like a big trending thing, and then this happened now. So that's super strange coincidence.
Yeah, I honestly can't even remember what my original story was.
Yeah.
Because I guess maybe that was for the best.
Yeah, that one I'm curious about.
If I can't even remember, but yeah, the train derailment fiasco is pretty interesting in terms of what's going on at that. And then the last story, I'm pretty excited to get into. It is about the death of Echo VR.
Ooh, I don't know what that is either. Oh,
So-
okay. A lot of crazy shit out here.
Yeah,
A lot of crazy shit out here.
I was telling the listeners while you were being celibate in the bathroom that I got some pretty exciting stories today.
Let's fucking go.
I'm gonna just say it. This is gonna be a goodie.
Proud of you, bud.
This one's gonna be a goodie.
I might take a piss later on.
I hate you.
Go on.
So with the first story, I'll read the full headline.
Okay.
Colorado River crisis is so bad, Lakes Mead and Powell are unlikely to refill in our lifetimes.
That's crazy.
And so to start it off, they say that the snowpack in the Sierra Nevada is the deepest it's been in decades.
Okay.
But those storms that were a boon for Northern California won't make much of a dent in a long-term water shortage for the Colorado River Basin, which is an essential source of supplies for Southern California.
Okay.
And right off the bat, I was like, what the fuck is a snowpack?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that, but I'm sure you have
So-
the information.
I searched that up, and a snowpack is snow that has fallen on the ground and does not melt for months due to below freezing temperatures.
Oh shit! So that's going away.
Yeah, like not right away, but
Yeah.
eventually. But you'll see later in the story how snowpacks are very crucial to
Refilling up lakes.
refilling lakes and whatnot. But
Gotcha.
yeah, they say that in fact the recent storms haven't changed a view shared by many Southern California water managers who say they don't expect Lakes Mead and Powell, the nation's largest reservoirs, to fill up anytime soon.
That's crazy.
Brad Udall, a water and climate scientist at Colorado State University, says to think that these things would ever refill requires some kind of leap of faith that I, for one, don't have, which is crazy.
Sad.
But Lake Mead, located on the Arizona-Nevada border and held back by Hoover Dam, filled in the 1980s and 90s. In 2000, it was nearly full and lapping at the spillway gates. But the mega drought over the last 23 years, the most severe in centuries, has worsened the water deficit and has left Lake Mead about 70% empty.
This is in Colorado, you said, right?
Well, it's the Colorado River that's being affected. But this affects like people in California.
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
in that immediate area, like Colorado, Nevada, California, those
like
areas.
Western. Okay.
But yeah, they say that upstream Lake Powell has declined to just 23% of full capacity and is approaching a point where Glen Canyon Dam would no longer generate power.
Oh wow, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so they say that even with this winter's above average snowpack in the Rocky Mountains, water officials and scientists say everyone in the Colorado River Basin will need to plan for low reservoir levels for years to come.
Jesus.
And they
Thanks, Obama.
right? That fucking guy.
God damn.
He thinks
it.
he's so cool,
Yeah.
even though he is.
He's actually pretty cool.
God damn it. I wish I was that cool.
I wish I could do an Obama voice.
I am Obama.
I am the president. Let's see.
I am
Hold on, let me see how this motherfucker sounds.
President Barack Obama.
Sorry, not to cut. No, this is actually pretty interesting, but I want to see if I can do an Obama voice. Obama voice. All right, real quick. Sorry, I was so fast. All right, let's see.
On a more serious note.
More serious now. I am Barack Obama,
I am
And-
Barack Obama.
and I think for the country that we will do better.
You sound too southern.
Little-
You have too much
All
of a twang.
I'm I'm Barack Obama.
Nah, you keep adding that twang.
I'm the president, and I'm Barack Obama.
Nah, now you just sound old.
I think the first one was the best one.
Yeah.
As your president, we will make sure that we are going to do better. What the fuck? Hey, what do you want? All right, go on. All right.
Some say that they think the river's major reservoirs probably won't refill in our lifetimes. Bill Hasenkamp, manager of Colorado River Resources for the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, says they're not going to refill.
I thought that was gonna be way more.
There is more.
They're just.
But he says they're not going to refill.
It'd be unfortunate if all these scientists were just coincidentally pessimists, and it just isn't non-scientific information. They're just like ultra pessimistic.
But he says the only reason they filled the first time is because there wasn't demand for the water. In the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was no Central Arizona project. There was no Southern Nevada Water Authority. There was not nearly as much use in the upper Colorado River Basin, so the water use was low. So that filled up storage. And I did see in the notes him mentioning Nevada and stuff. Not in the notes, in the comment section of Reddit, but that Nevada is apparently very water efficient.
Really? For a desert town and everything?
Yeah, they are very water efficient. They
crazy.
They actually pay people to remove their lawns and things like that, or remove old lawns so that
they don't have to be watered.
Yeah, or they use about only 4% of the water that is sent to them.
I saw that Vegas money, bro. That Vegas money.
Yeah, they're apparently one of the most water efficient states in the country.
I'm gonna go to the rivers and demand water. I'm gonna put my two hands down. I demand water.
You're gonna go to Nevada, order a glass of water, and then order a second glass of water.
Bitch. Fuck your town or state.
But demand for Colorado River water picked up in the late 1990s and early 2000s. The Central Arizona Project, a 336-mile-long water delivery system, brings water from the Colorado River to Arizona's most populous counties and wasn't completed until the 1990s.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, well, human beings eventually fill up the rivers themselves, and that'll probably fuck up with the ecosystem, though. Like with the water they transport and everything, and wouldn't that just fuck up a different place that has the water?
What do you mean?
like Mead and everything.
Okay.
Like if it's unable to be filled because of the lack of the snowpacks and everything, like would humans eventually just fill it up themselves? Not like with chlorine water, like pools, but like river water from somewhere else that is very like, abundant.
I don't know. There is a conversation in terms of like climate change in this story and stuff, because that is a big factor. So it is hard to say where in the world is like rain abundant and water abundant. Yeah. Something that they do mention later too is that regardless that we have had a pretty like dry like
California's drought is crazy. Like their drought be crazy.
I'll get to that in a sec, but because it's been so dry the last like few decades here, especially in the US, they say that it's kind of difficult to pinpoint like they're saying that because of how dry it is over the decades, that these storms that we get, these big storms that have been happening, is almost like Mother Nature trying to correct the course. Yeah. But even then, it hasn't been enough.
Yeah, I heard the rain that we got not too long ago. Because it's February and it's been fucking nice out for the past 2 days and everything. But I heard that there was a lot of rain. I don't know how true this is because it was just a conversation thing. But that a lot of the rain that we had was supposed to be snow. But because it's so hot, it was rain. I don't know if that's just how snow works and everything. But what do you think about this? Because this is just something I've heard that I just Googled. But Dubai, right, and controlling weather, because people would think in America they control the weather, and I kind of do too, to some extent. But it says the United Arab Emirates, however you say that, Emirates is one of the first countries in the Persian Gulf region to use cloud seeding technology. UAE scientists use cloud seeding technology to supplement the country's water insecurity, which stems from the extremely hot climate. So basically, to read this headline in CBS News, it's so hot in Dubai that the government is artificially creating rainstorms. And that's in 2021. Yeah, I've heard about this for a while now. But just reading here, the negative effects is that without significant engagement with potential risks and unintended consequences, cloud seeding is likely to lead to maladaptation or, quote, action taken ostensibly to avoid or reduce vulnerability to climate change that impacts adversely on or increases the vulnerability of other systems, sectors, or social groups. That was a sophisticated ass.
What?
But, what the fuck did he say? But yeah, that's crazy, right? But honestly, do you see that happening soon? And it would be kind of productive to do that, right? If it's affecting climate negatively.
Yeah, I mean, it
Got
sounds
hair in
like
my
it.
mouth. Yeah. My bad, bro. I just did not want that to stay there.
Nah, suck it up.
Jesus
If I can't shower, you gotta keep a fucking hair in your mouth.
I hate that shit. Because then you're like, you know, trying to get it out. If you ever get a hair stuck in your throat, eat a banana. That's the best way.
Yo.
I'm not talking about the fruit. No, but it's the best way to get rid of hair in your throat.
Yeah, sucking dick gets hair out of your mouth real easy.
Or getting stabbed in the back at the same time.
Hell yeah. What you doing later, Frankie? Getting stabbed in the back and taking some dick up the ass?
Getting some hair on my throat. You know what I mean.
Usual Friday night. Woo woo.
Shout out to God. But yeah, you think they'll do that eventually for these lakes?
I don't know. Even when you said like, would we try to refill these lakes by hand? The only thing I could think of is like literally transporting
Like trucks
water.
worth and everything. Right?
Like,
yeah, no, that seems like a way more harder and like maybe not so effective because it'll probably just evaporate later on and follow its natural, cycle.
There's honestly from this article, there's not too much of a solution for all of this.
It's just pessimistic.
Honest.
Yeah,
like it is just sort of a crisis, to be perfectly honest.
It's if you will, lake half empty. Oh,
yeah. This is a pretty half-empty story.
That's a good ass joke. You gotta give me some knuckles.
You know what? You know what? Psych.
Damn, feeling like the lake.
Him.
Feeling like the lake.
Feeling dry, ain't you, boy? Ooh.
I think it was a good ass joke.
Now I'll give you some knuckles. You know what? You know what?
Fucking go.
You know what? Fuck it. For the kids.
Well, somebody got a knife. No, but yeah. I don't know that. I mean, this is disappointing as fuck because it's obviously human, intervening. I mean, not intervening, but affect.
Yes.
And it just sucks, but that's God. That's
God's plan.
God's plan, bro.
But as I mentioned before, climate change has dramatically altered the river. In the last 23 years, as rising temperatures have intensified the drought, the river's flow has declined about 20%.
It's crazy.
And scientists have found that roughly half of the decline in the river's flow has been caused by higher temperatures, and that climate change is driving the aridification of the Southwest. With global warming, average temperatures across the upper watershed, where most of the river's flow originates, have risen about 3 degrees since 1970.
It's crazy.
And so that word, aridification, I searched
Thank
that
you
up.
for you're on points today because I was just gonna ask you what the fuck that means. Nice.
So I searched that up because I didn't know what that meant.
Nice meeting.
But aridification, oh shit, Chino's calling.
Oh shit.
What the fuck?
Oh, special phone call, Mr.
Oh my
Cereal.
God.
Mr. Cereal himself. I think he called last time too.
Chino, you're on speaker on the podcast.
No way. What's up, people?
Nice.
Hey, man, I love you. You guys are awesome. Most of you, at least.
I heard you like cereal.
Man, I didn't know I was going to catch you in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah, Frankie said that he heard that you love cereal.
I love cereal. Oh, I love cereal.
Not that much. You don't remember.
It's fucking horrible for you, but it's so good.
Nice.
Yeah, we're in the middle of filming an episode, as we do.
Definitely.
Facts. So that might interfere with what I was going to say to you.
What were you gonna say?
What I was going to say was come outside.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Oh.
Yeah, dog.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
I don't know if you guys are able to put a pause on this. But
No, this show goes on no matter what, bro. Nah, of course.
Yeah, we got you.
Nice.
so I'm parking the car, but I'm not sure if it's too close to a parking lane, and I'm kind of lit.
Hold on, I'm gonna use the bathroom.
All right. Well, I'll come out right now.
Yeah, walk towards Starbucks.
Okay. All right. Be right back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were saying.
Yeah, Anyways. Aridification, crazy shit, right?
No D, bro. Oh yeah, what is it?
So aridification is the process of a region becoming increasingly arid or dry.
Okay.
And this is very important because by definition, a drought is a period of abnormally dry weather that eventually ends.
So when you smoke and get cottonmouth, you're experiencing aridification.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say from here on out. Damn, I got mad verification right now. Sophisticated.
The more you know.
Nice.
But that's very important because what that means is that what Utah and much of the American West face is better termed as a aridification, not a drought.
Okay.
So, because again, the biggest differentiator between a drought and aridification is
the
that
lack
a
of
drought,
rain.
well, a drought eventually ends.
And a verification is like long term, if not like forever.
Yes.
Oh.
So that's the big difference here. That's what the U.S. deals with mostly. We're not in a drought. We are dealing with aridification because if it were a drought, it would have ended, and it has not.
Got you.
So that's just a really interesting point to make. And
that's what Utah is dealing with and all these other places? Which places are being affected by that?
Like pretty much any place in the U.S. that is experiencing a drought.
Yeah, is experiencing a ratification.
Yes.
But not the other way around.
No.
Like if you're ratified, you're not droutified.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, so I just thought that was super interesting to bring up, and it's just like I hope that after this episode, that's like maybe something you could educate people on to kind of be like, you know what, actually, like it's not a drought. This is because it would have ended. Yeah,
and it's super interesting to bring that up because going into the A.M.C section later, like these are all factors, even though it kind of doesn't go into this one in particular, but just in like a dystopia.
Yes,
to be more specific later on, but yeah.
Yeah, research has shown that for each additional 1 degree Celsius, the river's average flow is likely to decrease about 9%.
It's crazy.
So that's pretty wild.
That's some shenanigans.
They also say that scientists have estimated in multiple studies that by the middle of this century, the average flow of the river could decline by 30 or 40% below the average during the past century.
Rest in peace.
And Udall, that guy, he says, the last 23 years are the best lessons we have right now, and they should scare the pants off of people.
My pants are still on, bitch.
Yeah, well, joke's on you. I don't got any on.
I'm not wearing shoes.
No shoes, no shirt,
no atmosphere. I thought we were going different. I thought it was atmosphere.
He says no service. As he's like firing the gun.
What are you talking about?
SpongeBob.
I thought it was shoes.
Food. No, food, water, atmosphere.
Yeah. But then he says no shoes, no service, no
shoes, no shirt, no service.
Oh.
It's the episode when Plankton and Mr. Krabs switch places, and Mr. Krabs is all naked and he's trying to steal like the Krabby Patty formula. And SpongeBob starts firing like the gun at Mr. Krabs, and he's like, "No shoes, no shirt." No service.
I remember the gun. I don't remember those lines. That's great. I gotta watch SpongeBob. But again, my goal is to retire rich and just stay home, smoke a bunch of weed, and just watch every single SpongeBob episode until they start getting bad. That's my goal in life.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But they say that based on the low levels of Lake Mead and Lake Powell, well, Udall says this specifically, but he says that it would estimate that refilling the reservoirs would take roughly 6 consecutive extremely wet years with water flows similar to those in 2011. He says we need 6 years like that to refill this system in a row based on current operating rules.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that even being remotely possible. And this is where I got a little confused.
Gotcha.
Because right after that, the article says the Colorado River Basin very well could get a few wet years, he said.
Oh, so but I guess what he's saying is that like what's necessary right now is like 6 wet years.
Yes.
And which is what I call, the days I was single. But I guess rather than the 6, there's like a couple, which is not enough to refill it. But I guess it would be enough to sustain it. And then, what can you possibly say post?
I just felt like this was such a backtrack.
Yeah.
I was so confused by that I literally put this in my notes.
Is the basketball player who's like confused smiling and
Yeah.
That's funny. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. Same though. But I think that's what it is with so I do think that a lot of times when it comes to like people who are like climate activists and stuff like that, where what they're supposed to do is scare you into, and not to use the word scare to like joint it with lies and this and that or untrue things, but they're supposed to scare you so you can take action and start like, supporting the cause.
It's a tactic.
Yeah. And I feel like with this, like to say like, oh, we're not going to get 6 straight years, but we might get a couple years like that. And it's just saying like, well, within the couple years we get, like, then we have more time. And I don't know how long you can look into the future, but like, what if a turn of events, you know, changes up real fast? And then they'll probably edge it with, oh yeah, but with action, we'll get more wet years, you know, through, you know, people working towards fixing the climate and everything. So I think that's why climate change is so hard to really care for, because I know it's super crucial. Like, I joke around about it a lot and all that stuff, but obviously it's incredibly, you know, important. But it's also hard to contribute because, you know, who's telling the truth, really, you know? And obviously the people who don't care for it are just suppressing it and don't even give a fuck. But maybe the activists are over exaggerating to a certain extent where you don't really believe them too. You know,
I mean, you know, with anything, it's like I feel like that's always going to be the case. Where it's just if you scare someone enough, like I mentioned, that's just a tactic.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like it's a better question to judge the tactic as it is. It's like, is scaring people into submission a good way of getting people to follow something? Yeah,
because it works for, like, you know, smoking and drinking and stuff like that. Even though I seen the ads on the train for marijuana, it's like, do you have a marijuana problem? And I was smoking around, like, yeah. But like, I wouldn't call it a problem.
You said it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's really difficult, but that is really unfortunate. Because, but did they talk about the consequences of, like, what would lead or what would happen if it does, like, completely dry out?
Well, it does kind of mention, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it does mention at some point that, like, you know, because of the water being sucked up, pretty much, that this is going to affect a lot of places, primarily like Arizona, the Midwest and Southern California. Apparently, Northern California gets their water from other reservoirs, but Southern California is a big taker of the water from these lakes and the Colorado River Basin. But even with the second story that I'll get into about the train derailment fiasco, there is some interesting conversation in terms of even water, like trading and all that shit. Just like, how do you like expand, sustain resources and share it and all that stuff. It's a side of the U.S. that we don't really talk about too much.
As long as water's coming out your faucet, you don't really give a fuck. Or like, you can buy bottled water.
Exactly. It's something that isn't questioned too much. So I thought this was a really interesting story to bring up, to kind of be like, hey, like, where does your water come from? Have you thought about that?
Hey, Californians, hold on. Let me take a sip of my water.
Ooh. Did it go down the wrong tube? Are you good?
Almost. Oh, so refreshing.
It was amazing.
Smooth. But that sucks, man. I can't believe California is so expensive when they have, like, you know, situations like that and so much smog. When I went to LA, it was just so smoggy, like, throughout the day. Like, the sun came out, but it was through through all the, it was disgusting. And I mean, whatever. But it was nice over there, though. Pretty nice.
the way you even, like, pushed your tongue in your cheek, like, pretty nice. I was
kind of missing. I had the best milkshake of my life over there, bro. So good, so fucking good.
But Udal, he said that we might even get a wet decade.
Hey, you.
But boy, the long-term warming and drying trends seem super clear to me. And a bet on anything other than that seems like water management malpractice, that we have got to plan for something that looks like a worst-case future.
That confuses me then. So he says we might get a wet decade.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so this is...
That's what I'm saying. It seems like a backtrack. It seems it's confusing. I don't know what he's saying.
It's like, we might get this, but we might also get this. But and so that stuff kind of... Again, that's why I think it's so hard to take climate change so seriously, because it's so unpredictable. Even though there's, like, I think it's like a hypothesis, you know, not really, but, you know, you can do all the research you want, but really it comes down to, like, what the major effects will be. Now, of course, with, you know, so much change happening and all that stuff, it's inevitable that different things will happen negatively, without sounding so vague, that, you know, Earth will be Earth, you know, and it'll do what it does in reaction to what we do. Earth gonna Earth. But if I'm not mistaken, this I'm like loose on with the information, but even like the Amazon jungle and stuff like that, or the forest, whatever, I think because it was burned down so much and everything, like, it's able to regrow actually better because of those things and all that stuff. Like, again, I'm being very vague because I heard that a while back, but Earth is really good at, you know, repairing itself as well. I think that's the truth of it that a lot of people don't acknowledge. It's not to say let's destroy it and build, like, homes instead of trees, But like wildfires and all the things, like it's possible that Earth could repair itself. Now we're not scientists, you know.
I mean, it's like I mentioned before. They do talk about the storms that we've been getting and how crazy the storms in recent memory have been, and that it is sort of in a way where you could perceive it that's Mother Nature trying to sort of correct the course of things. Yeah. But yeah, I was really confused by this section of the article because it seemed really back and forth. But I'll go past that. The article just informs you a little bit more, where they explain that the Colorado River supplies water to 7 states, tribal nations, and Mexico even, and that the state's under pressure from the federal government to agree on cuts to prevent reservoirs from dropping to dangerously low levels. And so California and the 6 other states are at odds over how to make the cuts, and have submitted separate proposals to the federal government, with some disagreements centering on the legal system that governs how the river is managed. So I mentioned how interesting it is to talk about how we share our resources and things like that. It even down to the management of it, to the state level, it is so difficult to figure out what to do with water. Yeah, because it's such a touchy subject in terms of, you know, how to handle just water. Like, you know, it's like, how do you do that? You get me? And but of course, the politicians won't listen to the scientists, and the scientists will continue shouting to the politicians, and it's just some back and forth, and all in the meantime, water is just being water. I have a really exciting clip to show you for the second story. Nice. I'm pretty hyped. Fuck this story. But yeah, like scientists, they have warned of a coming crisis for this for many years. In a 2008 study, scientists Tim Barnett and David Pierce examined the likely flow declines with climate change and estimated there was a 50% chance the usable water supply in Lake Mead and Lake Powell would be gone by 2021. But it's not. Now let that sink in. Yeah. They wrote, this study was done in 2008, and they said by 2021 these lakes would be 50% dry. And it is. Well, it's close to being 20%, 30% type of shit like that. Yeah. Right? I mean, that is pretty crazy, to be honest with you. But also, I mean, how much has changed since, you know, in terms of, you know, preserving and, you know, being eco and stuff like that. You know? So, and you could even bring up the conversation again of like the unpredictability of Mother Nature and climate change and all those things. So, yeah. That is pretty crazy, though. Since 2008, you said? Yeah. That's wild. So, they titled their study, When Will Lake Mead Go Dry? And then in 2009, they published their research, and they wrote that based on projections with climate change or even the long-term average flows, they, quote unquote, currently scheduled future water deliveries from the Colorado River are not sustainable. And Pierce, he says, climate change is reducing the flow into the Colorado River system, so the agreements are divvying up more water than exists. He says, this drop in reservoir levels is happening because we are abiding by agreements that do not account for changes in water inflow into the system due to climate change. And he adds, there's always a chance of a few extremely wet years with the potential to refill the reservoirs. And quote unquote, he says, it's just that in the coming decades that likelihood decreases. Our work has estimated that the chance of the reservoirs refilling decreases from about 75% today to about 10% by 2060 if no changes in water delivery schedules are made. And he says we should be planning for the situation where the hotter temperatures decrease the river flow in the future. Man, this guy is so back and forth, though. You know what I mean? Like, but mind you, with this information, what David Pierce is saying, that was in his 2009 published research. I thought it was a Go guy. No. So this information that I just said was from 2009. Got you. So it's really interesting to think about how they were looking at the world back even in 2009, which isn't super long ago, but it kind of is now. No, it's close as fuck. Yeah. So, but I think it also adds merit to what you were mentioning of how things have changed even from 2008 or 2009 to now, how we deal with climate change and water and stuff. Because since he said if no changes in water delivery schedules are made, so he does acknowledge that, hey, with the way things are going right now in this moment of time, if nothing is done, this is how it's going to look like. So we have these notes to kind of compare from back then to now to kind of be like, okay, we have made some adjustments. We have fixed some things here and there. How do we keep improving? So this was interesting to me, but the capacity of Lakes Mead and Powell are gargantuan compared with the capacity of California's two largest reservoirs, Shasta Lake and Lake Oroville. So Lake Mead can store more than 27 million acres feet of water.
Goddamn.
And Lake Powell can hold about 25 million acres feet of water.
It's crazy.
Can you guess by contrast what Shasta Lake and Lake Oroville can hold?
1 million.
You can give them a little bit more credit than that.
8 million.
Nah.
All right, 2 million.
Nah.
What?
Shasta Lake can hold about 4.6 million.
So close.
And Lake Oroville can hold about 3.5 million.
That's crazy. Are they the largest holding bodies of water there is? The Lake Mead and the other one? Or is there other big ones?
These are in the US.
Oh, okay, so probably elsewhere in the world. But that's still pretty fucking crazy. And so for that to be cut down to like 20%, 30% is wild. It's still a lot of water though, technically speaking. You know?
Like it's just an interesting thing to think about because while it is posing issues right now, imagine the issues that it can create even 20, 30 years down the line.
True, but that means it can hold like about 7.5 million. I just looked it up. 7.5 million things of water, which is pretty good.
7.5 million.
That's like 30% of 25.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's still a lot of water. You know?
No, it is. It's just like...
It's still decreasing and everything.
Yeah, it's just one of those ideas of like, how do we be preemptive about this? How do we stop this before it gets any worse?
I think it's so hard to take climate change serious, bro. I think it's so difficult for people, especially in like modern states. Like, obviously it's important, man, but there's so much more shit happening that's like way more important, like relative to now. You know that it's so hard. It's so hard to be like save water, you know, and it's like because obviously it matters. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I know for sure it does, but then there's like people dying and injustice and which like really requires way more attention and stuff like that, and like funding and all that.
I mean, I don't know, man. My argument is that how can we do any of those things if we don't have a planet to live on anymore?
All right, see, but that's when it gets really, really outrageous because it's like for sure that, right? But it's like, how can you do that when say there is a planet and then all the people that are in the 1% are the only ones that get water? You get me? Like that's when climate change gets crazy because that's where climate activists get craziest and they'll say, "But we won't have an Earth, man." But like that'll really take a long time. Like the sun is inevitably gonna burst in billions and billions of years. You get me? There's no way you're gonna convince the population of Earth to care about that 9 billion years from now. Or to delay it, you know?
The concern isn't the sun. The concern is our planet.
Even what? But that's the thing. Like these things are gonna happen, like you said, if we don't have an Earth, but like way later, and that doesn't make it
like super way.
But
later.
It's also not like 10 years from now. Like that's the thing. These things are like probably 500, 1,000 years from now. And
it's gonna be way less than
there's
that.
There's no way the Earth is ending under 5. So you think the Earth's gonna end?
Not that the world is ending.
That's what I'm saying though. But that's when you.
I was just thinking about like
the water thing.
Not even the water, but when are we gonna see like the actual effects of climate change affecting the planet?
We're
as
seeing
a whole?
it now. We're seeing it now. But my whole thing is that when climate activists go like, we won't have a world to live on though, and it's just like that's gonna take so long. Where like most of your battle is getting people to care about that. And you're using something that will happen so long from now that you need to find a better way to convince people, you know? Because I completely agree. But it's just like, why is there a world if it's not a world to live freely on at all? You know, like what good is
it a world if only the 1% can get water?
I mean, that's the more likely thing to happen. You get me? It's the more likely thing to happen.
Yeah, but is that a fair world?
Of course not. I mean, is it a fair world now?
No.
That's what I'm saying. So like we have more to worry about with the fair worldness than the saving water. Like try telling people who are like homeless or experiencing homelessness, try telling them, hey, we need to go save the water in the river. You know what they're gonna say? Get the fuck out of my face. Like I don't care. Like I'm literally searching for water. I'm drinking water out of puddles. You get me? And that's the hardest thing with climate change. It's hard to take serious because I don't know. I just think for that reason in itself, like honestly, I give two shits the world ends in 5,000 years from now because I'm not going to be here 5,000 years from now. Call it selfish, but it's true. You know what I'm trying to say? And I think that way, honestly speaking.
I don't know, man. I would like the idea to preserve the planet and
it's like every vote matters. Like you can what is it? They say if you recycle, it helps the world, but a lot of that recycle shit is bullshit. Like a lot of the recycling doesn't happen because of misuse of recycling or like the wrong way to do so, and a lot of things are just damaged to reuse.
There just needs to be better education on recycling. To be honest,
absolutely, it should be a norm. It should be taught as a norm, but that's in an ideal utopia world where we're all abiding these educations. You know, if we can even receive this education, you know, like we still got people not letting people into the country just because they're born on another patch of dirt. You get me?
That's my dirt.
So, it's America. And so that again, that I think that encapsulates the whole, you know, problem with getting people to care, you know, especially the people who are, you know, the least benefiting the least from these, you know, things. Because if you're not paying rent, you're not paying for water. You get me?
I mean, you know, I always think it's interesting to think about, even with water, like water bottles didn't exist like in what, the 70s, 60s, something like that.
Yeah, but these are things
like,
that need to exist.
Well, I mean, I just think my point is interesting to me just because like water bottles are sold. It's you could say at that point when they started selling water bottles, it was like a capitalistic thing to like make.
But water has always been sold in bottles. You're thinking about plastic bottles.
I mean, yeah, like Poland Spring, shit like that.
But like water has always been in like a container, you know.
Well, back in the day, like people would just give you glasses of water, like they
you just walking around with a glass of water on a horseback. No, but you had like, you know, little sachets of water.
Yeah, I'm not talking about cowboy times. I'm talking about like the 50s to like the 60s.
But even like cavemen and stuff, like, or maybe not cavemen, but there's always, even though I'm sure there has been like barrels and like. The form of water you're talking about is specifically plastic bottles, which you know say is like capitalistic, but in any sense, anything you need has always been a capitalistic sense of anything. Just like trading goods and salt and all that seasoning.
Well, I mean, even to that, like I just feel like that even aids my idea of just that, like this idea of how we split resources and share them. Again, going back to that point, is just kind of this greed that is always going to bring this injustice to society.
I don't think so.
With climate.
I don't think that. I think those are correlated completely wrong, because I think those are basic survival, you know, things that we need to have, you know. And,
we need water, so why are we paying for it?
Because people need money to fund where they live. You know, first of all, I do think water should be free everywhere, of course, right? Like that's a given. We both share that idea, but like that's like, why do you pay for anything?
Well, I think there are some things that like there is such a necessity to life. Like even I was thinking about this the other day, but the internet, I feel like the internet should just be a service. I don't think you should have to pay for the internet, like especially in today's society where everyone relies on the internet. Like I feel like the internet should just be something that's included in your bill, like water or lights and
but you're
stuff.
Still paying for it.
Well, some places include those things is what I mean. It's just so I feel like some services shouldn't have to be paid for. Like I wish Con Ed was free. I wish fucking
but then at that point, like what are you I get what you mean, but that's not how society functions.
I'm speaking
you know? Like,
I'm speaking in a utopia, like idealistic world.
Because cops should work for free then. You know,
like cops should just be cops because they want to save the people.
If cops work for free, they'd be worse cops.
If cops worked for free, then we'd have no cops.
No, we wouldn't.
What?
Wait, if cops work for free, we'd have more cops. Oh, yeah,
no cops. I said.
Oh no, yeah, exactly. So that's what I think it all is. You know, and absolutely, there are some things that are disgusting. Like you know, I think should be free. Like maybe like tampons and diapers and things like that. Those things, you know. But then where does the list end? And then at what point are you just destroying companies? You know what I mean? And I mean that's how it works in a society, especially in American society. Let's say that, you know. But things need to thrive off of like a basis of, you know, reaction and you know, like action. You know what I mean? Like this and that. And I think that's how society has always existed. I just think that, man. Like to get real, like, you know, to the base of it, like what humans do is what humans do. And even though it can also
humans gonna human,
and it's all gonna be disgusting.
You've been saying that a lot.
I know, bro, and it's all gonna be disgusting or normal, but nothing really is. You know what I'm trying to say? Like without trying to sound like man,
nothing matters, man.
Yeah, because all these things that we think are wrong or right. When Hitler was around, of course, there's people opposing it, but there was a norm of letting it be. When the Aztecs, you know, were there, when the Mayans were there.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I like his mustache.
Me too. We should both rock the Hitler mustache.
Hell yeah.
But
Hell yeah.
everything's relative to anything else. You know what I'm trying to say? And at the end of the day, these companies unfortunately exist, but to dream and say I would like this to be free and I want water to be free, like it's just not realistic. You know, it's not realistic in today's society. You know, and I think the better way to look at things is how can we work through this to make it more accessible, make it cheaper, make it this and that. But
well,
you know,
that's why a lot of this conversation from this article is about like being preemptive. What can we do now to prevent this from getting worse? The things that I'm talking about from my own head is just what I wish.
No, for sure.
Like,
for sure.
Like I'm not saying this is what this article is pushing for. I'm not saying this is what activists are pushing for. This is just what I'm pushing for.
I know. That's a b-hole we went to.
Everything should be free. Like fuck money. Like we should just fucking like just give each other a high five and there you have a car.
What do you think of the idea of? Do you think people, if money didn't exist, if everybody got paid the same, do you think we'd all be doing pursuing our passions? If everybody got paid the same.
Not all of us.
Okay, so
some people just don't have drive.
Okay, that's true, but maybe sometimes they don't have drive because they're less successful than others, right? So let's say all of us got paid, like Tom Brady, Alan Moore, you, and the doctor in office. They all get paid. Let's say everybody gets paid $11 an hour, even the president, $11 an hour. You think the society would be better?
I don't know, man.
I don't think so. I think more crime would erupt. I think there'd be less people helping.
I feel like that would create a sort of complacency across society. I feel like people would get maybe a little too comfortable.
Why?
Because there's always that idea of, even when it comes to the arts and stuff, of like the struggling artists. Like there's always that idea that like some of the best art comes from like the most troubled minds and things like that.
Well, I think that's more so romanticization, and those stories get more attention. But I think a lot of artists don't come from that, and they're also some of the best. You get me?
No, I mean, that's why I didn't say all. I'm just saying some, like notable ones at least, or to begin with. But it's just you know, you're not wrong. So it's just but I think like a lot of good art comes from a deep place, and I feel like that when you're complacent, you don't have that sort of mental capacity to go into that place. I feel like when you become complacent, you are just kind of distracted with lesser things that are happening around you.
How can complacency exist if everybody's getting paid the same?
Because if we're all getting paid the same, then does it matter? Like,
yeah, because we're humans, and like humans always are. Like I think what the main of it is survival. Like survival is the main core thing humans do, right? And in a first world country or in modern times, you're able to do more than survive. But at the base of it, that's what we're doing.
So then how do you explain like kids that grow up rich, like that just like are grown?
Well, they're surviving. I mean, they're doing what they have to do. They're surviving. And I think what I'm trying to say in terms of that is that maybe if people all got paid the same, like there wouldn't be, you know, the best person in the world. I mean, maybe there for sure would be, but the focus wouldn't be on like, you know, being the best something, being this and that, just spreading whatever your form of expression is. And I'm not saying expression like art, like, you know, painting or this and that, just like whatever you're the best at, like skill, trading for skillful things for skillful things. I mean, there'll still be crime and all that stuff, but like somebody who wants to be a doctor would be a doctor. There just wouldn't be enough doctors to help everybody. You get me? And education would be free, all that stuff would be free, but then teachers wouldn't teach because maybe they don't want to be teaching. From what I get from that, and the reason I bring it up is because I genuinely don't think, and no disrespect to doctors, I'm not saying this is true, but I don't think a lot of doctors are because they want to be saving lives. Like I think, truthfully speaking, from my experience exclusively, so I'm not right, it's opinionated. There's a lot of people who study to be doctors who do it for the money, of course, but then that's what they're raised to do. Like from their parents, we heard this from like Indian kids, Asian students, not more so in the Hispanic culture, but when it is a Hispanic culture, like, you know, strict upbringing, you know, and these things are so you can have a better future to be wealthy and, you know, live lavishly or at least comfortably. You get me? Eliminate that incentive for like, you know, high money, capitalistic mindset. And like, I don't think you'd get as much doctors, you know?
Well, I just feel like even that kind of like maybe aids what I'm kind of getting at, of just sort of that complacency of just like, well, I don't need to do this, so I don't want to do it.
But exactly, but you want to do something, you will. And people who are if people are doctors, if they don't do that because they have to, then they'll do something they want to do.
Right. Yeah. So I agree with that. Yeah. I just don't think it would be so widespread or a majority would be like that. I think kind of like how you said there'd be less doctors. I think it'd be a minority of people more than anything that would really venture out and do what they want to do in a world like that. I feel like there's some sort of like story, like some book, comic, movie that
absolutely
that has a concept like that that's just escaping me right now. But
I think rather than complacency, I think it's just like lack of opportunity. I think that's what's mostly like, in general happening, because I think what happens is that the complacency, I mean, it seems to be complacency because people don't seek out opportunity because so many doors seem to just close, especially in careers of passion, like comic writing, making a movie, like any arts, like, dancing and all that stuff. Those doors don't seem to be as open as they are, even though there's a lot of things to help you get there. And some people are just not good at those things. They want to be, but they're not. And so I think that with anything, and I think, complacencies I wouldn't use that as much. I mean, there definitely is those people for sure. But I think, it really stems down to like, just like money too, like money, like classism and all that stuff. The poorer you are, like, there's the few of the many that grow up poor or grow up with really tough past and make it out. But are they?
They're better.
They're not any better than anybody who grew up rich and became a crazy billionaire. No,
they're better.
Yeah, if anything, it's like it's a shame on us that anybody that does grow up wealthy and does become this great artist, we just don't cherish them as much as somebody who's climbed out the trenches, because
they're both Kim Kardashian's daughter. Child.
Even Kim Kardashian herself is obviously the most talented person on earth.
No, I just think about her child's drawing that they did.
Oh my god.
And like they were like 7 or something. It's like an amazing drawing, and everyone's like, "Show me the real drawing."
I know some bullshit. Or was it like actually a really amazing drawing?
I mean, it's a really good drawing for a 7-year-old, but it's just there's no confirmation of whether they actually did it or not.
I always think this, and this is obviously nature is nurture, but and first of all, everything I just said, and there's a lot of scattered things, just because, I guess a lot of my mind is saying like, I'm not just saying, because society is this way, we have to abide it, and that's what it is. Is that right now, because society is this way, we have no choice but to abide it, unless someone's going to change everything completely within your lifespan of, capability. Like that's what it is. Like you have to realistically work through these things to like really get there. And some people just have an advantage off the bat. But I always think that this is not true probably, but if you take a kid from the second he's born in a basketball gym, right? And for the rest of his life, he spends his time in a basketball gym, like growing up. And from the beginning, all he knows is how to just play basketball, like shoot a basketball, get familiar with it, blah, blah, blah. Like, will he be the best basketball player in the world? Or she?
I feel like it's likely, but there could be the chance that still no. I think to even how I kind of said that some people just don't have drive. Some people just can't excel in certain things, like, and that's not even a fault on them. It's just sometimes things don't click for people. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, but I don't think that's true in the sense of, it's kind of like the whole philosophy thing with the tunnel and all you see is what's in front of you and you're strapped to a chair, but to your left. Yeah, so imagine this scenario being that, but there's no cave, there's no exit to the cave. So all you see is black tunnel. Like, I'm trying to say with this person.
It's a cave.
Well, yeah. That's what I'm trying to say, bitch.
But I'm just trying to get you on the same page, bro.
At the end of the day, tunnel's kind of like a cave anyway.
A tunnel's a tunnel.
Tunnel's a cave. A cave is the same thing as a tunnel.
Do you call a street an avenue?
Yeah, some people do. I mean, a street is an avenue.
No, it's not.
Well, honestly, these names are just made up. You know what I mean? So
you're made up.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think of when I think of that like scenario. Like if all they know, like there's no human interaction with them from the beginning to the end. It's just, controlled voice and everything, and they're completely healthy. I know it's a ridiculous, circumstances, and obviously they need to eat and everything. But I think it'd be interesting, and obviously it's illegal. But
is it?
And it's like what Hitler tried to do with like the perfect people. You know what I mean? What is it? The
blue eyes, blonde hair.
But even that had its faults because obviously there was a lot of input from other sources to say this is wrong or this is this, or just the average mind seeing everything around them, being able to think with interaction. But this one person, baby, born in the gym, they have no interaction for the rest of their lives and to be the best basketball player in the world, you know? But then, of course, to play basketball, you need to interact with the people eventually.
That's like in Rocky IV when he fights Drago, the Russian dude, and like Drago is like literally built to be a boxer. He's built to kill, and he's like, if he dies, he dies. But Rocky, you know, he's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, and it's just that contrast.
I don't give a fuck. That's his line. I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. Yo, Adrian, I did it. But it's that contrast of like nature versus nurture. Like Drago was built to literally do this.
And this motherfucker just wants to. Yeah. At the end of the day, I think we both can agree climate change is dumb.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back now.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so hard to argue for. And again, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad to be an activist of climate change. I just honestly think it's more important to care for humans that are living on this earth right now. And, you know,
all I got to say is if we don't start today, then when?
I just know that both of us will be way dead before the earth ends. Unless, you know, unless humans kill humans, like nukes and shit like that. Oh, shit.
Get the fuck on the ground, Frankie.
Just
I
start
pulled
floating.
the gun out, guys. I pulled the gun out. I'm putting it right at Frankie.
He has a finger gun. He about to finger blast me.
I'm about to just burst through that barrier with you, Frankie. Together, we're going to get through this.
It all comes down to therapy.
Together, we're going to get through this episode. All right, man?
Yes.
Give me some knuckles for that.
I don't even know if I want to give you knuckles. Not after what I just...
You're just like, oh.
Fuck it. I don't know, man. But I hope the best for Lake Mead. And
I'm not even done. I don't have much more of this. It's
just like the river. Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty much the Colorado River supplies on average about 25% of the water supplies in coastal Southern California. So yeah, they supply about 25% into Southern California. And while the region also
so that means they're getting 75% from somewhere else?
I guess, yeah.
Don't seem like a big deal.
I don't know, man. But while the region also gets water from Northern California through the State Water Project and other sources. But California's Sierra Nevada snowpack is now about 200% of average at this point in the season. While the snowpack in the upper Colorado River Basin so far stands at about 140% of the median over the last 30 years. So we're getting a lot of snowpack, which seems like a good thing. But well, they say that the bigger snowpack could help the Colorado's reservoir levels this year somewhat. How much won't be clear for a few months. Hasenkamp, he says, absolutely, this snow is welcomed. The cold weather is welcome. The real question will be in the spring, because in recent years, hot, dry conditions have led to reduced flows in the river. And he says that's what's been the killer the last few years, is a hot, dry spring has taken the snow that's been there and it doesn't make it to the reservoirs. And to sort of end it off, Daniel Swan, a UCLA climate scientist, said an exceptionally wet decade might someday change things. So again, that's sort of back and forth.
Yeah, a lot of maybes in this whole article.
Yeah.
A lot of mights, a lot of maybes, a lot of if.
And he says, but the problem is, it doesn't just have to be wetter than average. It would have to be dramatically wetter than the long-term average, and for many years. And Kathy Jacobs, director of the University of Arizona's Center for Climate Adaptation Science and Solutions, long ass title, she noted that researchers project atmospheric rivers will become more intense with rising temperatures. And I searched up what atmospheric rivers are, and apparently it's like the air right in the atmosphere above water, where like water travels like across land. And they move very similar to a river, but just in the atmosphere.
It's dope.
So,
very Avatar-esque.
Yeah, honestly. But we'll talk about that in a second.
Nice.
But, yeah, so pretty much those atmospheric rivers are becoming more intense the hotter it gets.
Yeah.
And that scientists expect more intense extreme storms and periodic flooding. And Kathy Jacobs, she said, I strongly suspect that the dams on the Colorado will be needed for flood control in the future, as well as for water supply. So in that vein, she's kind of like, maybe it's a good thing these things are draining right now, because like we're going to have the space for when the water piles up. So,
bruh, this is why I don't take climate activist serious at all, bro.
But as for the future, Jacob said that a great deal depends on whether greenhouse gas emissions are reduced to, quote unquote, to net zero in the near term. And the article just ends that there are workable ways of managing reduced water supplies from the river, said by Kathy Jacobs. And she says, the longer we wait to build more flexible future management schemes, the harder it will be. And I just think, again, like, if we don't start today, when will we? That, I think that's just, to me, that's something that's very important. Of just like, I understand that it's very back and forth. I mentioned it myself. I am aware of it. It's just that if we don't look at these situations now, when will we?
Oh, I think the thing is that we are looking at them. I just think the importance level is way less severe than other things, like way less severe. You know, I think that's just what I think completely. So I'm agreeing with you, but I'm also like downgrading how much we should pay attention to this stuff. You know what I'm trying to say? I think at the end of the day, it's like scientists, you know, and human participation. If it's that important, change laws. But, you know, as we know, politicians will really just do what's beneficial to them, you know, and that holds, that like is a blanketed statement over everything. And if you're going to list things of importance, again, I think it's people that are falsely in prison. I think it's homelessness, orphans, you know, like, you know, starving people. Like, I think drug addicts, those things are way more important.
Bring a lot of baggage into this.
I think fuck this river. I give a fuck, bro. Honestly speaking.
I'm sorry, guys.
Go green. Speaking of water, wait, what happened?
But yeah, no, that was the story.
Speaking of water, I gotta take a river.
Oh my god, this fucking guy. I'm so fucking sorry, guys. This fucking guy and his fucking piss. He's not even drinking. I don't get it. Like, what the fuck? Hold on. Give me 1 second. I got my gravity bong, guys. If you don't know what a gravity bong is, I'll give you a little science lesson. So say, you know, you want to take, say if you wanted to get hit with a shotgun instead of a gun, like a pistol, right? You want to get hit by a shotgun instead of a pistol. That's what like a gravity bong, taking a gravity bong hit is like. A gravity bong is just a cup. You cut off the bottom of a plastic bottle and you put the plastic bottle in the cup. You fill the cup with water. And so then when you put the top of the bottle on it, you fill it with weed, you light it. And as you light it, you lift up the bottle in the water. That way the bottle just fills up with smoke, simulating as if you were smoking a joint or something. So that way you just have a whole water bottle full of smoke. You just take off the top and you just push down and you get a whole big ass hit. And that's a gravity bong hit for you folks. I'm Bill Nye, the science guy. And Franky's back.
You think humans can evolve later in the future not needing water? Or needing less water?
Boy, we're 70% water.
I said evolve, bro. Evolve takes a long time.
We are the way of water.
People would think that in the future will like, I mean, our bodies are constantly changing, you know? So, I don't know. We'll become cactus. No, but I like Futurama's depiction of water in that one planet where all the people are made of water. Oh, it's not really that. I just think, you know.
And he drinks a king.
Yeah. Actually, wrong thing. I just think in the future, water will be very cherishable, like wine and stuff like that. And we'll be getting like our food, like water from our food instead, you know, and just being real thirsty and shit. But I don't know, man. It's a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing. And it leads to a lot of other, you know, dystopian type shit. But fuck it.
We need Matt Damon to start in a sci-fi thriller about water.
That's all we need. Like when he went to Mars and grew a garden.
You know, bullshit. People actually search up if the Martian is real.
Fucking, and that's why climate change is it's like them, bro. Because motherfuckers are searching that up. You know,
is the Martian real?
That's a good movie. That's all right. All right. Well, rest in peace, those rivers. We don't need you.
How dare you? I need them. But I'm gonna go take a hit.
Oh shit. Okay, so I'll talk to the people then. You know, I was looking up this video. If you're very interested in it, it's look up the volcano eruption of Pompeii. It happened. I think this is in not Greece, but in something. But anyway, the volcano erupted in Pompeii. Look that up wherever it is, and it killed a whole bunch of people. And the people that died were like kind of preserved perfectly due to, you know, the everything coming from the volcano, like the lava, the ash and all that stuff. So you can actually see the people and how they were when they were dying in that time. And this is a long time ago. And so now like 3 million, 4 million people live on that island. And that volcano is set to erupt. Mount Vesuvius is set to erupt whenever. And they have plans and, like, you know, made, but no one really knows if they'll really work. And people are, you know, they're thinking that they probably will die and only a few will be saved. This is crazy. I was telling them, like, did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So again, if you look at Mount Pompeii and Mount Vesuvius, you can find pictures of people preserved in their moments of death, like frozen in time. And it's pretty crazy. This is one picture of this guy who looks like he's jerking off. It's mad funny because I feel so bad when I saw the video and then I saw the picture. I was like, it's not as funny no more.
Imagine dying while you're jerking off.
Oh, man. He fucked up. He was like, I'm going to go out with the blast.
Who's going to finish first?
It'd be funny if it's like, you know, cum came out and it also was perverted. So just this trail.
It's just like a splash.
Yeah, and some girl's face like,
There's a Doctor Who episode where they go to Pompeii the day that it erupts.
That's dope.
It's really cool. Really
Nice.
good episode.
I believe you.
Doctor Who's dope.
Sorry.
But fuck you. But we are now at the train derailment fiasco.
Nice. In Ohio.
So I'm so surprised to hear you say that you had no idea about what this was.
Yeah.
When you sent me that meme about those people dancing in the Elmo suit and whatever and that shit like that, and there's a big fire in the background.
Oh, that's what that was?
That was that.
Look, I've heard of it in like passing. Like, and even the other day, there's some guy I was talking to at a bar where he was just chatting about conspiracies. And he was like, yeah, I mean, bro, this guy was chatting. And he was saying like, yeah, that was done on purpose because, you know, when the trail derailed, it was carrying a bunch of chemicals and these chemicals are going to go into the air and soon it's heading east and that's going to rain all over us. And soon we're going to be, and he's like, did you get the vaccine? That means you have so-and-so in your body. And when the government turns off its 5G towers, it's going to get all of you guys and I'm going to have to kill you guys. You're going to be, this is everything he was dead ass saying. On and on and on. It was crazy conversation. And I just kept saying random shit. But it was very interesting. So that's the most I've heard about Ohio. Was it carrying chemicals?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess he was right about that one.
So yeah, so I made a whole timeline of this because
Nice.
it's a pretty interesting scenario that's happening here. So on February 3rd, while traveling from Illinois to Pennsylvania, a 150-car Norfolk Southern Railroad train derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. This resulted in about 50 cars crashing, which included roughly 20 cars transporting highly volatile chemicals, and 14 of those cars contained a colorless gas known as vinyl chloride, commonly produced for commercial uses. The EPA, or the Environmental Protection Agency, classifies vinyl chloride as a carcinogen, which is routine exposure to it could increase one's risk of liver damage or liver cancer, and short-term exposure to high concentrations can cause drowsiness, loss of coordination, disorientation, nausea, headache, or burning or tingling, according to the CDC. So following this, people living and working within a 1-mile radius of the derailment were ordered to evacuate. After that, the EPA conducted a controlled burn of the chemicals to prevent a possible explosion from happening, as well as digging up and removing the potential contaminated ground and soil. And so that all happened in one day. That was February 3rd.
It's crazy.
On February 8th, Ohio officials said that residents could return home after air quality samples, quote-unquote, showed readings at points below safety screening levels for containments of concern.
That's still kind of crazy though, because there's some level of there, right? There's some level of it there still.
So I don't know if I wrote it down, but I got this from multiple articles. I don't know which article mentioned it, but one of the articles said that the specific reason is that vinyl chloride is safe at a certain level.
Okay.
So when they say that it's at those screening levels for containments of that it's below safety screening levels, it's like it's still there, but it's at that level
Where it's not so hazardous.
Yes. No. And so the EPA said air monitoring since the fire went out has not detected any levels of concern in the community that can be attributed to the incident at this time. However, They also warned area residents of possible lingering odors, but again, noted that the byproducts of vinyl chloride can emit smells at levels lower than what is considered hazardous.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of the toxins spilled into the Ohio River near the northern panhandle of West Virginia, causing officials to shut down water production in the area and transfer to an alternate source of water supply, which was said by West Virginia Governor Jim Justice.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what I had in mind when I mentioned in the last story of like, it's interesting to think about how we share water and resources and things like that. Because in this scenario, the Ohio River got contaminated or possibly contaminated. And so it's like, what do you do with that? What do you do with the water then? So I just thought that was an interesting thing to connect those two things.
Yeah. But
on the following day, on February 9th, a lawsuit filed by 2 residents of East Palestine. It's such a funny place in Ohio.
That's what I was thinking from the beginning. I just didn't know how to say anything about it, but it's just like, what a random place.
But they called for the rail operator to pay for medical screenings and related care for anyone living within a 30-mile radius of the crash site, as well as undetermined damages.
How many people died in the trash?
No one died.
No one died?
No one died.
That's kind of amazing.
It's funny that you say good, because in retrospect, after looking through the whole story and looking at the comments on Reddit and stuff like that, I feel like more than not, the
environmental
blame
impact
is on the EPA. Not the Norfolk Southern Railroad. So after looking at all these articles, this lawsuit, I feel like it's a little unfair towards the rail operator, and I'll explain why in a little later. But the following day, on February 10th, the EPA said in a letter to Norfolk Southern that chemicals carried on the train, quote unquote, continue to be released to the air, surface soils, and surface waters. So they were like, hey,
you fucked up.
It's out there.
Yeah.
But they didn't say anything past that. And then the next day, on February 11th, the EPA reported that it had screened the indoor air in 210 homes and hadn't detected vinyl chloride. The following day, on February 12th, local schools and the library were screened, which was this Sunday. And then the following day, on Monday, 181 homes still needed to be screened. And so this is where the story starts to get a little crazy. Yeah. Because on Monday, it was officially reported that there were more toxic chemicals aboard the train that derailed that day than originally reported. So
reported by the EPA or the railroad?
By the EPA.
Okay.
So other toxins like phosgene and hydrogen chloride were emitted in large plumes of smoke during a controlled release and burn, prompting officials to issue the mandatory evacuation orders. And a list of cars that were involved in the derailment and the products that were carrying released by Norfolk Southern reveals several more toxic chemicals that were released into the air and soil following the crash. Among the substances were ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, ethyl hexyl acrylate, and isobutylene were also in the rail cars that were derailed, the list shows. Contact with ethyl hexyl or ethihexyl. Sorry, I'm going to say this right. I'm going to do this right.
You got this, bro.
Ethihexyl acrylate. Contact with ethihexyl acrylate, a carcinogen, can cause burning and irritation of the skin and eyes, and inhalation can irritate the nose and throat, causing shortness of breath and coughing, according to the CDC. Inhalation of the isobutylene can cause dizziness and drowsiness as well, while exposure to ethylene glycol monobutyl ether can cause irritation in the eyes, skin, nose, and throat, as well as hematuria or blood in the urine, nervous system depression, headache, and vomiting. So there's a whole bunch of other chemicals that were on that train that we didn't know about until just this Monday.
But the railroad should have known about it initially, right? I feel like the railroad had that list on already. You get what I'm trying to say?
Well, so I'll just kind of spoil it a little bit, but it's just
Oh, you don't got to. You can keep going. But that's just my initial thought, that they would already have a list of chemicals on it, and that the EPA should be notified ASAP by the Railroad Association.
Right. Yeah. So I'll get to it in a second.
Okay, nice.
But
keep you in your fucking toes.
And so here's the big kicker. This is where it gets a little crazy.
Yeah, a little crazy.
The Ohio Department of Natural Resources said the chemical spill resulting from the derailment had killed an estimated 3,500 small fish across 7.5 miles of streams as of Wednesday of February 8th.
Damn. Poor fish.
So where they evacuated a 1 mile radius, now there are 7.5 miles of that radius where small fish were dying.
So then that must mean that those chemicals have gone 7.5 mile radius.
Or even more. We don't know. And one resident in North Lima, more than 10 miles from East Palestine, said that her 5 hens and roosters died suddenly Tuesday, February 7th.
She shot them and they're like, they just died. they just
died. Yeah. Hides the gun behind her back.
Man, there's a bullet in your chicken. Wait, but just off her 5 hens, they just died suddenly?
Her 5 hens and roosters just suddenly died.
Seems like just a little problem. But I guess it's random.
And for some people who live near the derailment site, the reports continue to spur fear that they and their animals might be exposed to chemicals throughout the air, water, and soil. Kathy Reese, she says, "Don't tell me it's safe. Something's going on if the fish are floating in the creek." She lives in Negley, Ohio, and she also reported seeing dead fish in a stream that flows through her backyard.
Interesting.
Jenny Giannios is a wedding photographer near Boardman, and she said she had a persistent cough for the past week and a half, and that she has been drinking bottled water now, and she's uncomfortable bathing in the water from the bathroom spigot.
Oh, shit.
And she says they only evacuated 1 mile from that space, and that's just insane to me. I'm concerned with the long-term health impact. It's just a mess. And she said this coughing throughout the conversation. And so Andrew Welton, a professor of environmental and ecological engineering at Purdue University, nerd.
He's like, maybe it'll be bad, but maybe it'll be good. Maybe.
But he said it's possible the burn created additional compounds that the EPA might not be testing for. He says when they combusted the materials, they created other chemicals. The question is, what did they create?
That's what I was thinking. Like, if you merge these chemicals, another one has to form. I mean, I know I just rephrased what he said, but I also want to say it. So
yeah, so you're
I'm smart too.
So you're just in with this guy. Yeah. Fucking get a load of this guy. Oh, you think you're so fucking smart, huh?
I know.
Maybe you can stop being celibate. How about that?
In April.
But in Darlington, Pennsylvania, 4 miles from the accident, managers of the Kindred Spirits Rescue Ranch evacuated 77 of their biggest animals, including a yak and a zebu.
A yak? What the fuck?
Yeah, and I don't know what the fuck a zebu is.
What the fuck? What the hell?
I want to search up what a zebu is.
You look up a zebu, I look up a yak.
I know what a yak is.
Oh, a yak is like a buffalo almost, right?
Yeah, I just don't know what a zebu is. That's like... I forgot to search that up as I was making my notes.
Oh, it's cattle.
Okay.
That's a baller ass cattle. What the hell?
You searched up zebu?
Yeah, look at this shit. This shit look like got the fur coat on or something like that.
Yeah. Fucking gangster.
I get a zebu. Ooh. About to bang a zebu.
Put it away, Frankie.
I'm sorry. Zebus look cool as shit. They're like cow camels. They have a hump and everything. What the fuck? Wow, that's crazy. They got some fucking endangered species out there.
But Lisa Marie Spocco, the ranch's founder, she said, we could see the plume come up and over us. Our eyes were burning and my face could feel it. And she also said she's concerned about the conditions. The ranch's water comes from its own 2 wells, but until experts can test them, her team is using 1 well with a more sophisticated filtration system. And the Ohio Department of Agriculture said the risk to livestock remains low. And they quote unquote say the ODA, or Ohio Department of Agriculture, has not received any official reports regarding the wellness of animals related to the incident. Still, the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation is urging members to get the water from their local wells tested as soon as possible. Yeah. Nick Kennedy, the Bureau's organizing director, says...
Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon says the biggest concern is the water table at this point. To see what kind of exposure there has been to these chemicals, there's some level of frustration out there among farmers.
Yeah.
They just want answers. Their livelihoods might be at stake here.
Yeah, and if they feed the water to the cattle and they get butchered for like meat and everything, that, I mean, that's like a real. I mean, I didn't really think about it because when she said I drink bottled water, I'm like, all right, bet. But when she started mentioning like the showering and stuff like that, or even washing your hands, like that's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
And like with The Last of Us out and all that stuff, it's like, boy, fuck that. You know? I'm 2 episodes in. Pretty good.
Nice.
Pretty good. Honestly. You finished it?
I'm caught up with it.
Yeah?
It's not
Okay,
done
yeah.
yet.
It's not done. It's like, what was it, like 5 episodes?
9 episodes.
9 episodes? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we're
But it's
on
pretty
episode
good.
like 6 or 7 now.
Nice. It's pretty good. At first, I didn't like the Ellie girl's acting. I kind of hated it. And the second one, it gets better. Like, she finally stops being a little bitch.
I won't lie. There have been little moments here
Yeah.
and there where I'm like, hey, can we run that back?
Yeah.
But other than that shows been great. Pedro Pascal has been killing it.
Facts. Shout out to Pedro. I think he's Chilean.
Oh, is he?
I think so. Yeah, he's definitely not Mexican or some shit like
I
that.
thought he was Colombian. I
Nah,
don't know
like, he looks
why.
Colombian, but probably from Narcos.
Yeah, probably why.
But I think he did Narcos Mexico. Anyway.
But to end the story off, pretty much, Laura Faust, the public information officer for the Columbiana Country Health District, said the department began groundwater sampling last week in partnership with the state health department, the state EPA, and contractors from Norfolk Southern. And the results haven't come back yet, and she didn't know when to expect them. But she also added that her department has received no reports of residents experiencing abnormal symptoms at this point.
I feel like that's long-term symptoms that you can't really, like they can just lie and then long-term symptoms will just be blamed on like this or that.
And so that idea of who's to blame, the EPA or the rail operator, Norfolk Southern, this one comment, the top comment on this post on Reddit from Atomic Shart 9000.
I love Reddit.
Put it pretty well. They say, what pisses me off is that the EPA had to send a letter to Norfolk Southern telling them the chemicals they discovered at the rupture. Quote unquote, oh, by the way, dudes, remember that one super hazardous chemical? Well, we found 3 more super hazardous chemicals. The rail line should have had its own hazmat team and equipment out there working hand in hand with the government agencies. Hell, they didn't even have any corporate execs at the press conference last week. They have been trying to distance themselves from this since day one.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
And I also feel like the EPA, I know it's like very sudden and probably like will do bad to Ohio, but just evacuate everybody ASAP. I know that's a lot of money and all that. Like, people don't want to do that. Of course, stubborn people want to stay. But man, I don't know. That sounds like a mess, and that sounds real terrifying, man. Because like when it comes to chemical, even when I'm on like the road and stuff, and you see people with like those gas things in the trucks and all that stuff, like I get so worried about that shit.
Oh,
all the
really?
time. Yeah. Like obviously you're not in real danger, but you never know what could happen. And if there's a crash or something, and knock on wood or some shit like that. I don't know, man. This is spooky.
This is wood.
This is definitely. I hope so. It is from Amazon though, so it's probably from like baby blood or some
Fake
shit.
ass wood.
What was the plot twist?
What plot twist?
Oh, whatever. Like spoiler. I think you're gonna spoil.
No, the spoiler. What was that about? How like the EPA is kind of like more to blame than anything because they should have been the ones informing Norfolk Southern to kind of be like, hey guys, like
look,
there are hazardous chemicals on your train.
Oh, okay, yeah, and they didn't.
And they didn't.
Yeah.
Like that was just kind of the EPA just kind of didn't think about it until it happened.
Do you think there's any? Did they mention any reasoning as to why the derailment occurred?
There was no information about that. I did see something about how like maybe trains aren't as safe as what we used to think, and because the train did derail, there is conversation about that. Maybe a lot of these tracks need to be remanaged. Yeah, because and stuff like that.
Train derailment is pretty common occurring. In terms of how often it should, which is never. Like it definitely has happened in the past a lot of times, especially like in Long Island, if I'm not mistaken, or stuff like that, or like New Jersey. I don't know. But yeah, that shit is dangerous as fuck, bro. And honestly, it's real scary because you really think a car crash is bad. Like a train crash is pretty bad. Yeah. To be honest with you. And people die. I'm just surprised nobody died. What about the guy who was riding the train or driving the train?
There was no report of anyone dead. Like
that's sus. That to me is a little sus.
I mean, it is a 150 car train where only 50 cars crash.
But nobody's I guess. But how? Somebody's at the front of it. I think a crash occurs at the front, but I guess it occurred in the back.
I guess it occurred somewhere in the middle of the train or something, or like somewhere in the back. But that's crazy. Like,
that guy's definitely dying though. He definitely got all those chemicals.
He's the fallout. Yeah.
Shoot that man.
Kill that man.
Honestly, bro, I do not anywhere near him, bro. Damn, poor Ohio.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But There was this really exciting thing I wanted to show you with this.
I recall.
So someone commented about this in one of the articles about this whole situation, saying Original League 1694, they said, any regulator signing their name to be it's safe should spend a month in a hotel in their town, drinking tap water and eating locally sourced food.
That's a good ass comment.
And someone responded, Ezekiel Darmy, they said, like those council members who claimed they drink groundwater from an area affected by fracking and went dead silent the moment a guy poured them a glass of well water.
And then like Eric Adams, who says he rides the subway all the time, bitch ass motherfucker, you definitely don't.
And when I read that comment, I was like, I want to see that. And someone had the link.
There's a video of that?
There's a link, and I'm going to show you it. It's a 4-minute clip.
No way.
So we'll cut this out.
Okay.
But I just want you to watch this for a second because it's so crazy. But
just turn it and put it right here so we can both watch.
I kind of want to. Oh, you know what? I'm going to cut this out anyways.
Yeah. That's a crazy ass video.
Right?
That's a crazy ass explain the video to people though that couldn't have watched it, of course.
So, as I mentioned from this comment, they said.
Shout out the video too. Like what you can find it on YouTube. Just put the tape in.
So if you go on YouTube and if you search up hearing on fracking wastewater well in Seo County, Nevada, you'll find this 4-minute clip.
Some guy wearing overalls and like a neon yellow shirt.
Yeah. And he goes up, he has his 3 minutes and he basically shows up, has a Dasani water bottle. He pours some water into 3 cups for these council members. And he says, hey, like,
you said you would drink it.
Yeah. He's like, I know you guys would drink this. Like, this shit's water. This shit's pristine. It's beautiful. But would you guys drink this well water from fracking? And he has like a soda cup filled with like this well water, and he pours it, and it's this gross, like brownish looking
like dirt water.
And he says, you told someone this morning that you would drink this, so
could drink it.
Would you drink it?
Yeah. And then the person responds, oh, we have no comment, no answer to that.
Yeah, we can't answer that.
That's some bullshit, bro. That's some crazy bullshit. They're able to do that, man. And that's some fucked up shit right there.
And so I thought that was such a crazy clip, and I really wanted to show you that just because it's such it adds so much to this train derailment fiasco of just kind of like they're forcing people to just go back home. Well, not forcing, but they're kind of like
giving them
you
all their choice.
Good.
Yeah, giving them a false, thumbs up, like you just did. Yeah,
and it's like it. I see more stories coming up of this as it progresses. And I feel like this could be a bigger issue than anyone might have thought.
I imagine it honestly will be. I think to them, I mean, just to make like a little guess, like I just think it's too expensive to move everybody out on the government's, terms and stuff like that. And yeah, man, it's really unfortunate because honestly, like, of course, every life there matters, but then I think of children who are still developing, and who it's going to affect way more long term, and the elderly and the sick, and it's just really, really terrible, man. So. I hope Ohio's good, but that doesn't seem like it is. Not to be like pessimistic, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a very scary thing, and when I was looking at this, because I knew the train derailed and stuff, but when I saw the stories about these new chemicals and the fish dying and all this stuff, I was just like, yo,
not
what?
the fish. Yeah, no.
Not the fishies. Nemo, no.
Yeah, man. Fuck the in the Yezu or Yezu,
the Zebu. Not the Zebus.
Not the Zebus, but look up Zebus too. If you're gonna look up that video, look up Zebus and just be amazed. That shit is crazy looking.
But yeah, that's a train derailment fiasco.
That's some crazy shit.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Nah, I definitely know now.
But yeah, it's a very scary situation. So we'll see what happens with that. It's an ongoing story. So we'll see what happens.
We'll follow it.
Yeah.
All right.
But the third story that I got for you, pretty cool story too. This is about the death of Echo VR.
Okay.
And so I'll just throw it out there. Echo VR is a VR video game.
Okay.
It's I'll explain it in a bit, but pretty much to start it off, on January 31st, Meta and its child studio Ready at Dawn announced plans to shut down the popular free-to-play multiplayer game Echo VR, with plans to turn off servers come August 1st, while immediately ending support for it as well. And so to dive into that, Ready at Dawn is widely known in the VR space for creating one of the best VR games out there, while funnily enough, also being one of the first developers on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And they would also soon become one of the first acquired developers of Meta. And so the popular game that I mentioned is Lone Echo. Lone Echo came out in 2017. One of the earliest games on VR, on the original Oculus Rift and everything. And it's a space sci-fi game where you're an android and you're there with a human on a space station, and you're just like trying to get by. I played a little bit of it, but I only played a little bit of it because I was playing it through other means. Wink, wink. So
okay,
because I just want to check it out. I didn't want to buy it yet.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted to demo it before I
okay.
decided. I enjoyed what I played, so when I have the time, I'm gonna buy it and play it.
Okay.
But Lone Echo again has been considered one of the best VR games out there.
Let me take this mic out. Hold on 1 second.
Do it. You getting comfy?
Fucking back.
You're like Tobey Maguire. My back.
All right, I'm back. All right. So continue.
But yeah, in 2018, Ready at Dawn released Echo VR, a free-to-play multiplayer game set in the Lone Echo universe. And so what Echo VR is, it's essentially kind of like a sports game where it's kind of like Ultimate Frisbee. It's a 3v3 where you are throwing a disc and trying to get it through the goal on the other end.
All right.
So it's kind of like soccer in a bit, Ultimate Frisbee, kind of like
combination of sports type shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so at the time of this video, well, because I forgot to mention, this story comes from Thrill Seeker, a YouTube channel. I used, do you remember that story I did on Neos VR? That's the same guy that covered that. Okay. So this guy is covering this again. He does good stuff on his channel. Thrill Seeker. Check him out.
Thrill Seeker.
But at the time of the video where he posted about this shutdown, Echo VR stood at 4.5 stars in the Meta Store page with 9,558 ratings.
Okay.
When I checked last night, currently it stands still at 4.5 stars, but now with 9,892 ratings. So it has gained about almost 400 ratings in the last 2 weeks.
Got you.
And which is kind of crazy to think about after the announcement of it shutting down.
Yeah.
But
that's like most things when they're gonna go away, more people pay attention to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Echo VR is also one of the most popular esports that Meta owns, with the only competition being Onward, a more tactical military-esque shooter.
Like Call of Duty?
Yeah, kind of like Call of Duty, but it's a little slower.
Gotcha.
Echo VR has had 7 seasons and battle passes of paid cosmetics from an active user base. And so it really brings the question, why would they shut down Echo VR?
Yeah.
Normally when this happens in the gaming industry, the reasoning behind it can fall under the company going bankrupt, not enough players to justify the price of servers, or any weird legality battle revolving around the game.
Yeah.
So why the sudden announcement? In a quote, Ready at Dawn, they said in their statement, "At Ready at Dawn, we pride ourselves on being open and communicative with our community. To that end, we have news to share, ...
Oh, shit.
After many discussions internally and with our partners at Meta, we have made a difficult decision to shut down Echo VR. By no means was this decision made lightly, but it was made for many good reasons, and chief among them is the studio coming together to focus on our next project. We can't say anything about it yet, but we are all excited and need all hands on deck." So pretty much they said, we got something new coming down the pipeline.
Don't worry about it right now.
Yeah. And so a lot of people were just kind of like, what?
Yeah. Like, it's my game, bro. You're fucking it up.
And so here's a community response I want to show to you real quick about the shutdown of this game. It's pretty, it kind of sucks to hear these people talk about how much this game means to them, but this is what they have to say.
VR to me is a promise from my childhood fulfilled.
Echo Arena is way more than just a regular computer game.
It transcends what the most people would call a game.
I've probably met my closest friends that I'll ever have because of this game.
I didn't expect this reaction.
I met in Echo that I will be marrying this coming fall.
What the fuck?
So one of the most
people
like really. That's kind of extreme though. Like these like I feel not the shit on them or like even like disregard what they just said because somebody just said like I'm gonna marry somebody I met on Echo VR, but that's kind of intense,
Yeah.
You can still. I mean, it's not like the game going away. Like you're not gonna. I mean,
well, it is going away.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what's it called when they shut down the service to Call of Duty 4 and things like that? Games like that. Isn't that the same thing almost?
Well, yeah, things like that happen, but that's why I mentioned like when this happens, it's like the reasoning is kind of like there's not enough players and stuff.
Yeah, to sustain it and everything.
Yeah, but there's tens of thousands of people playing this game, and I'll get into the numbers a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it just kind of sucks in general, just because it's like I'll get into it later, but they're trying to reach millions when they're
only getting like thousands.
Yeah, and it's like you guys are shutting down something to try to create something bigger.
When you're only getting 10,000, barely.
Yeah, and it's like, well, it's kind of like you guys are trying to shut down these tens of thousands of people to create something for millions, but those tens of thousands of people still meant something, and those tens of thousands of people could have built towards that million.
Yeah, it's true. But I also see it as maybe like a new wave of project that, you never know what it could be in the future.
Yeah, we don't know. Something that he mentions in the video is that maybe they're pulling like an Overwatch 1 and 2 situation where they're going to announce a new Echo VR type thing and that's going to replace it.
Yeah.
We don't know because we don't know what their next project is. So it was just up in the air of like, why are they shutting it down? There was no reason, like legitimate reason to it. And so Thrill Seeker, he brought up a pretty interesting theory in his video where he believed it could be entirely possible that Gorilla Tag could be the main offender here. Have you heard of Gorilla Tag?
No.
It's a VR game where you're just a gorilla without legs and you use your arms to climb around and jump around.
Oh, that's
everywhere.
dope as fuck. That's fucking really dope.
And it's like a social VR thing where you just kind of hang out in the lobby with people and you just jump around and climb around and talk and just catch up and shit like that.
That's cool as fuck.
So Thrill Seeker kind of brought up this theory that maybe Gorilla Tag could be the main offender here.
Okay.
The explanation behind that is that it is possible that Ready at Dawn was a victim of employee attrition. And what employee attrition is where talent leaves but is never replaced. And so to explain that, there were 3 original beta testers to Echo VR who later ended up becoming world finalists in an esports tournament for Echo VR. Later, they would all move on to create their own VR games or applications. One of them created Vertex Stadium, an application to allow people to watch Echo VR tournaments in a simulated arena. Another created something called Grab, and he didn't explain what that was, but it just kind of looked like you just jump around and grab stuff.
Yeah.
And lastly, the third beta tester, known as Lemming, created Gorilla Tag. And what's crazy is that in a since deleted blog post from 6 months ago, Lemming posted about 2 new hires to his team. David Yee, who was the director of studio manager and productions of Oculus for 7 years and has now become Gorilla Tag's new chief operating officer. And David Newbelt, the project lead at Ready at Dawn for 14 years and 10 months, as well as the project lead for Echo VR, and has now become Gorilla Tag's new chief technical officer. So it is completely possible Ready at Dawn does not have the talent to maintain Echo VR servers because they lost him to Gorilla Tag.
Gotcha, which is kind of hilarious to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a crazy theory. It's a crazy thing to be like, holy shit, like Gorilla Tag killed Echo VR. But
which does sound like a dope game, to be quite honest with you. Because I'm deeply invested.
Please tell me more. I'm sold.
That's so creative. All right.
But so that was the video pretty much.
Yeah.
We had no idea what was going on. Thrill Seeker threw up this theory, and that was that.
Yeah.
And then a few days or a week later after that, on February 6th, a direct answer was given by Meta's CTO, Andrew Bosworth. Boz is like what they call him for short.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the Bosworth?
And he gave the answer in an Instagram AMA. However, to better understand this, before Bosworth, the Meta CTO, or at least consulting CTO, was John Carmack, and he was a CTO for the past 10 years.
Oh, shit.
The change in CTOs happened roughly 2 months ago, where Bosworth took over. And what Thrill Seeker kind of mentions in the video is that replacing a CTO in a company is almost kind of like a brain transplant.
Okay.
A CTO is such a crucial part of a team, of a company, and to just change someone out entirely is it creates a big ripple effect.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so to explain why that's kind of a big deal is that John Carmack comes from a gaming and game designer background, which has aided to his quote unquote pro consumer, pro gamer mentality. Like, for example, he's the main reason for many newly added features to the Quest, like 120 hertz refresh rate coming to the Oculus Quest.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know what that even means.
Not at all. Like how often it like accommodates the playing visuals.
Refresh rate. Just imagine that a screen runs at a certain refresh rate. You know how games run at say 60 FPS. If your screen
frames per second, for those that don't know.
Yeah,
I know.
If most TVs, like nowadays, 4K TVs are now 120 hertz, but like still the less expensive TVs are 60 hertz.
Gotcha.
So
VR.
When a screen runs at a certain hertz, that's the amount of frames that you can see per second.
And how many hertz? I mean, is a lot of hertz good?
Yes.
Okay. The better, the better hertz, the more it is.
So when they say that you have 120 hertz refresh rate, you can see 120 frames per second.
Gotcha.
So that's basically like the max of what you can see in a screen. So John Carmack was a big reason as to why the Quest got 120 hertz refresh rate, which in VR is very crucial to have a very smooth experience.
Because then shit is all glitchy and all that stuff.
Yeah, because if it's not smooth, that's when you get motion sickness and things like that. Exactly. It's bumpy.
Bumpy.
But so yeah, that's John Carmack. And so on the other hand, Bosworth, he started at Facebook in 2006, and he made his fame within the company by making the money as the vice president of ads.
Oh shit.
So Thrill Seeker calls him the father of mobile Facebook ads. And so in the Instagram AMA, Bosworth, someone asked him like, what happened with Echo VR pretty much. And this is his response. He said, "So what happened here? It just dwindled. The user base is small. Its oil is all get out, but it's small. It's measured in, below 10,000. Those resources could be put to other uses that I think will be useful to now tens of millions of people who are in VR. And at some point you had to make those choices. So basically it's simply not strong enough of a user base for Meta to maintain it." And he continues to say, "I'm sad because these things meant something to people. They had real value and purpose, and they had intention, and they brought people together. And that's what we're trying to do as a macro thing. But I do need to think about return investment. And I'm not talking about money back to Meta. I'm not talking about trying to make money. I'm talking about the return on the human capital, the people that could be doing something that's going to affect millions of people. But instead they're trying to keep something alive that affects tens of thousands of people. I love how deeply affected those people are, but I just got to make those calls. It's part of my job."
Shot caller.
And it's a very difficult thing to say, just because like from that quote, like what I took from that is just kind of like, you made the tough decision to shut it down, and you can say that like you're trying to use those resources to aid millions of people, but what VR game or application is housing millions of people right now?
Yeah.
None of it.
None. Yeah. There's
like, I'll tell you right now, because these are the numbers that I wanted to bring up. I forgot to search it up, so I'll search it up real quick.
And I imagine that not so many numbers because accessibility and then functionality and, how entertaining it is and all those things combined, all those things have to be, strike perfectly in order for it to reach the millions, and I think VR is still at a starting point, but definitely huge now, but not as big as like how common Xboxes and PlayStations are in the house,
Yeah. So there are more than 171 million VR users worldwide. However, in terms of how many people use VR daily is a much bigger question.
Yeah.
Where the number of, VR users in America is about 57.4 million. So you definitely have millions of people in VR, but you don't have millions of people in a single application or game.
Yeah. I look at it like in some sense because kind of like the laptop. How at first the laptop was being used, more so for like email and things like that, searching the internet. And I think what will happen eventually, and I'm sure it's inevitable, but with everybody having access to VR, especially those using it in like classrooms for business and stuff like that, then it'll have more ways to expand. Like more people will get more ideas with the more they get the hands-on experience. Just like how laptops, when they were introduced, now it's like gaming and editing and so like limitless things to do. But I think the same thing with VR in the future. Most kind of like anything, but in terms of gaming devices and potentiality,
Yeah, I just
potential.
Yeah, and it's just Thrill Seeker kind of pointed out the human capital thing that he mentioned. Where that's almost a very like non-human way of looking at things, where it's just referring to people as sort of an amount of money that they can spend, where it's like, oh, we had to pay this person. Do we want to pay them to do this, or do we want to pay them to do that? And so they're making the decisions because they want these people to work on what they want, what
they will put out.
Like, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
People like Bosworth are trying to force these developers to work on things that Bosworth and other people want them to work on. And these developers aren't getting the chance to work on what they really want to work on. And in that AMA, Bosworth even admits that John Carmack would not have shut down Echo VR if he was still the CTO. Gotcha. He said it straight up. And what's interesting is that Carmack also criticized this entire choice in a statement which he put out. In the statement, he said, even if there are only 10,000 active users, destroying that user value should be avoided if possible. Your company suffers more harm when you take away something dear to a user than you gain and benefit by providing something equally valuable to them or others.
Just like the Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. And in this statement, he even suggested alternative solutions, one of them being drop to absolutely minimal support. Put a single developer in charge of maintaining it and doing what they can with the community.
That sounds like a good idea.
Another one was spin off the project. I suggested that they should see if anyone on the team wanted to leave Meta and take over the project. And this is something that is done often in the industry. Another solution he offered was open source a project. This would double as a God developer example, although the Echo code base is very different than Unity, where most VR developers work. And for that last point, basically what that means to open source a project is to make it free.
Got you. And this game you have to pay for.
It's free to play, but what I mean by making it free, by making the code of the game free.
So people can work on it, people can work through it within it and stuff like that? Okay.
But Meta will never do that.
Why?
Meta will never give up something that belongs to them.
Oh, of course, because they are who they are. And you think financial strain has anything to do with this for Meta?
Well, that's a big thing because I don't think money's a problem for Meta. They're Meta.
I know, but I thought they were losing money and stuff like that.
Yeah, they've had cuts and stuff.
But they're still filthy rich and everything.
Yeah, they've had cuts and stuff. There have been many companies across the tech industry that have had lots of job cuts recently, which sucks.
Yeah,
but with Meta, they flash how much money they spend. They're like, oh, check it out. We just spent 10 million on Facebook Horizons, but we still don't got legs.
Yeah. So it's crazy how, and for those that don't understand what that means, like go on Google, look up Facebook Horizons and look up the, like almost like the Wii, like emojis or avatars, I mean. And they literally have developed so much money, and this looks like the first Wii generation in terms of like, but worse. Like there's a face, arms, body, but no legs. And it looks terrible compared to the modern VR, which, VR chat and all that stuff looks incredible.
And it's crazy because, again, kind of like Carmack was saying, fucking Echo VR is such a dear thing to people.
Yeah.
And to take that away from people is just going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. Like, I'll just show you a trailer real quick of what this game looks like just so you can get an idea. But I've never played it personally, and what Thrill Seeker mentions is that he's never played. Well, he has played the game, but he's not an active member of the community.
Gotcha.
The reason why he made these videos is because he kind of wanted to be one,
like a voice,
like for these people to kind of be like, hey, like don't shut this game down.
Yeah, there's still people here that really care about it.
But this is just kind of what the game looks like a little bit.
Oh my god! And what it sounds like.
Boom, boom, boom.
All right, so to describe what we're looking at, it looks pretty nice, honestly speaking. And this is through Meta.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's like very, lifelike avatars,
Yeah,
more
you're
so
like
with
cyborgs.
legs. Yeah, kind of like Tron-ish.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Tron-esque
Neon
graphics.
lights.
Yeah. Actually, a lot like Tron. What the fuck? Was it just floating through space fighting each other?
You just float through space trying to get that disc in the goal, baby.
Oh, yeah. Like you said, it's like a sports game and everything. Yeah. It's kind of like that game with the big ball in the cars.
Rocket League.
Rocket League, yeah. That is very interesting. They would shut it down, man. Definitely if it's progressing. But there are a lot of games out there. And I mean, but now we talk more so about VR, you know. So if it already has a crowd and an audience, you know, a community,
it's one of the most popular VR games.
Yeah,
like
it's weird.
It's so insane that they shut this down. That was the end of the story.
Yeah,
because there wasn't much more to that.
But I would admit at first I wasn't really understanding what you were saying, but now towards the end of it, and now that we are at the end of it, I completely get it. To be honest with you, because like it's something developing, and it's something that has so much potential to be so much bigger in the future, and you're kind of just cutting it off and saying, no, don't worry, we're gonna make something better. And it's like, why would you do that? Like, you know, why would you just like completely end something that, you know, either had potential or could grow into something just a bit bigger? Why not just build a new thing also, you know, instead of, you know, just cutting it off completely? Because then you kind of give people no choice but to go towards that, and chances are not everybody's gonna enjoy it, you know. But no, it's interesting, and definitely way more interesting when you think about how new VR is relative to like other, you know, gaming devices or contraptions that do similar things. I don't know, man. I think the way I described the meta thing compared to like current VR, it's like VR, like things like VR chat, which I'm not really familiar with all the other VRs, like Oculus, I guess. So I don't know if it's the same thing, but they're like building flying cars, and Facebook is just kind of like just discovered the wheel. You know, and I'm sure, to me, my theory is that they're doing this on purpose just to sell you shitty software when they know they have way more advanced software. Kind of like how Apple, you know, they'll give you a new iPhone and it does nothing but appear to have a better camera. You know, the new feature on the iPhone now is to unblur pictures, but I feel like they could have been done that for mad long. Like that's what the Super Bowl ad was for the iPhone, that it could unblur pictures now, and it's hilarious.
Nice.
It's a hilarious ad. You should look it up. You should look up Super Bowl unblur photo, because it's just this girl running side by side like other people running. And it's a pretty big girl, and it's just hilarious how much she's shaking, because it's like, bro, why the fuck would you ask her to record this video? It's like a Super Bowl unblur Apple commercial. And it's so fucking hilarious, man. And I get it. I mean, it's a good thing. But I think iPhone is very scamish. And the way I look at it is like with Starbucks, that gives you like, you know, this type of flavor for this season, and you have to wait months to get it back. And, you know, I think we're being like teaspoon fed what's really out there, when you can really be given everything at once just for the profit margin. That's how, man, I recently got earphones that connect to my ears, the wire ones, because I lost one of my buds of my Galaxy. It sucks ass. And yeah, man, I had to buy the earphones. I had to buy the audio jack, and it came out to like $50. You know what I mean? No, I bought a charger also. But it's just bullshit how Apple changed everything up just so you have to buy more gear to charge your own phone. Yeah. And how Europe sued Apple because they didn't come with chargers for their phones. That's so dumb. Like, how is that possible? You know?
Also, I couldn't find the video. I'm just finding about how Tim Cook had a blurry Super Bowl photo.
What the fuck?
And people were trolling him for it, and so he deleted the photo.
What the fuck? Let's see. Let's see if I can find that. I'm pretty sure it has to exist. What the hell?
But it's funny. My mom was using my iPad the other day, and she tried to plug in her phone charger into my iPad, and I was like, nah.
That's what I did. Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, look, this is the commercial. My bad. Hold on. All right. Okay, so we just have the video.
What the
First of all, there's no way this girl is side shuffling as fast as these kids running forward.
Dude, that was funny, just because like it was so intense. It was like,
it just looks crazy. So I'm there watching the Super Bowl, and I see this ad. I'm like, is no one else seeing this? But yeah, she could do it.
It's a super mom right there.
Facts.
She's getting that shot.
I didn't even think it was a mom. Oh yeah, it was a mom, right? Because yeah, she was dumb serious too. She wasn't even enjoying that shit. It's like, bitch, just enjoy the moment. Yeah, just look up Super Bowl Verizon ad. It's for Apple. It's so fucking funny. It's like 38 seconds long.
But yeah, man, that's the death of Echo VR. Hopefully something will change. Hopefully,
maybe the community's outreach will bring it back in the future.
There were conversations about Thrill Seeker brought it up where like there are many people petitioning to keep Echo VR alive.
Yeah.
With most things, petitions always come up online.
Of course.
But there are a lot of people petitioning for it, and there's someone who modded the game before that was the mod originally was made so that people could do things for tournaments and stuff to make things a little easier to play on LAN and things like that, like local access network.
Yeah.
And so that guy is saying that once the server is shut down, he's going to release the mod to everyone. So there is the possibility that after the server is shut down with that mod, Echo VR could still stay alive peer to peer, possibly, meaning that you could host servers like personally instead of relying on Meta servers.
Yeah.
But that still would have to come down to Meta
allowing it and everything.
Allowing it.
Yeah. And so chances are they're like, nah.
Yeah, so it sucks. It's a really shitty thing where it seems like Echo VR is just going to die and just never see the light of day again.
That does suck. But I'm assuming somebody, I hope that what would happen is a different company would be like, fuck it, we'll just make our version. And then you guys can come over there. I feel like that's the more realistic option that'll probably happen and
Hopefully.
stuff like that. Yeah, because
that'd be cool.
I would do it right now to make some money.
Let's do it.
Let's fuck it. I've invented.
Done.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that's unfortunate. But I'm not surprised by Meta at all.
It's just
that I can say is an evil company.
Oh yeah, like something that Thrillseeker mentioned is that it which has been very evident with Meta is that every acquisition they've made of certain developers and companies and stuff, all their products have declined in quality since the acquisition.
I wonder, man.
And it's just there's something up with Meta with their chain of command and their leadership, or there's just like gaming and stuff like that is just not their priority.
Yeah,
they are clearly focusing more on business and like just general life stuff, where it's just like
Apple Homes, I'm assuming, is in the future and everything like that.
Yeah, Apple's gonna get in the business for sure.
I know that's different from Meta, but I just imagine, I don't know. It's very, very weird to see how they're acting right now. But I do think in the future Meta stock is gonna skyrocket. I know right now it's like 140 something, 146. But I genuinely think, and this is probably easy to predict, but I think eventually it will be just this burst of massive new wave technology that'll just surprise the world, and it'll rely on like what's it called? What's that word? Like loyal fan base to be like, see, I knew it was gonna be, but I just think they're just gonna take their sweet time with it because they don't need to do anything else, But I don't know.
If you're loyal to Meta, lick my boot.
No. I had Meta stock and that shit went down crazy. It was tight, so I sold my shit.
Yeah, no, I don't give a shit about Meta. I'm glad I got a Valve Index.
Yeah, that shit looks way better, to be honest with you. Way better.
Fucking Oculus Quest. Nah, if you got an Oculus Quest, that's fine. I get it. Like,
yeah.
It's the cheapest option out there.
I wish I bought it, man. I was
still a good product.
I went up when I was on Black Friday at Best Buy. I was eyeing it because I was waiting for the guy to get my TV. Even though I got a $900 TV for free. Swear to God. But I was eyeing the Oculus the whole time, and I was like, ooh. But I didn't get it. But maybe if I got it, I would have to pay for the TV. So maybe it's for the better. $900 TV
gotta
for
take
free?
what you can get.
Boy, I'll take a $900 TV for free any day of the week. What? I was blessed. That shit was amazing, bro.
But yeah, that was the news stories for you.
And that's the way the news
And that's the way the news goes.
We can't do that no more. Justin Roiland beats woman.
Shit.
Look what you did, Justin Roiland.
That's the way the news goes, I guess.
And that's the way the news continues forward without help.
And news.
Yeah. Don't beat women. Just beat men.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. But now what are we up to, Javi?
We have made it. We have made it, my friend.
And if you had showered, we'd be here 30 minutes later.
That would have been fine. That would have been fine.
Hell no, it's windy as fuck outside, bro. Nah, but we are at
the A.M.C section.
The A.M.C section. Don't tell nobody.
Don't tell anybody.
Just tell your friend.
Tell the person sitting next to you on the train you're listening to the A.M.C section.
Just lick them real quick on their neck. Just lick them real quick. And then blow a kiss diagonal from you. And then slap the next kid you see. Yeah. And then at that point, keep listening to us. Because unlike normies, we're here for you no matter what. Rebecca.
Always, baby.
We got you, Rebecca.
Eric.
No, fuck you, Eric. I don't fuck with you at all.
Yo, what you got against Eric, man?
He fucking looks ugly as shit when he looks in the mirror, bro.
Oh yeah, well you know what? Fuck Rebecca then, bitch.
Don't ever talk about Rebecca ever again like
I'm
that.
gonna talk about however I want about Rebecca.
Don't ever
Fuck
talk about
that
Rebecca.
hoe.
Don't ever disrespect Rebecca.
Rebecca is a hoe. H-O-E, hoe.
That'd be mad funny if there's a Rebecca on the train, just like, really down the dumps. And she's like, you know what? Like, honestly, this is a sign. And then we're like, you hoe ass Rebecca. You dumb bitch.
On the other hand, she's probably like, oh my God, they mentioned me. Oh my God. Wow.
Fuck
they
you,
know
Rebecca.
me.
Yeah, you thought I was on your side?
Fuck you, Rebecca.
Deadass don't fuck with you, bro.
Link doesn't fuck with you.
And he's upside down right now. He's laying upside down. Mad adorable, by the way. This is Link if you shrunk. I know you guys can't see it, but I got a piece of cotton.
That's
that's but we're at the A.M.C section where we talk about albums, movies, and comics. And this week we're talking about a certain movie.
We nailed it.
We're talking about a certain movie today, and it's pretty interesting. And I got thoughts and opinions.
As soon as he said that before we started filming, immediately I was like, I'm so curious to see what you had to say about this movie.
I know.
Because
and I told myself not to say it, but I was like, let me say it right there.
Because I like after looking at the reviews for this movie on Letterboxd and stuff, I'll get into the reviews at the end. But it's so interesting what people had to say about this movie, especially today.
I did the same thing, and I actually picked up some reviews myself. Just because I was curious to what people would say and everything. But first of all, tell the people what movie we're covering today.
So we are looking at what is considered now one of the most definitive sci-fi stories in film. It is directed by Ridley Scott, starring Harrison Ford, and we are looking at 1982's Blade Runner.
The final cut.
The final cut.
That's very crucial to the whole element of everything.
Yes.
Yeah, man. And so... definitely, you've always talked about this movie all the time, even like from the beginning of things. Blade Runner has been one of those movies you reference to and everything. So I was like, okay, let's fucking do it. And yeah, man, I saw it. But yeah, I got some facts that I think you might have picked up on too. But there was a good article that I seen that gave away the movie. I read afterwards, but it gave me a lot of background of it, which I thought was very interesting. Because I really think with this movie, you really have to think of the time period for sure. Like that's an absolute, but still. It was like a back and forth with me. I'll say that to start off.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, as soon as you said you got thoughts and opinions, I'm like, okay, it didn't sit like all the way with him.
Yeah. But tell me some stuff about the movie.
I mean, I'll just let you know that Ridley Scott, he's pretty well known in the film industry.
He's not alive no more, right?
He's still alive.
But I thought it was Stanley Kubrick, but that's Full Metal Jacket and stuff like that.
Yeah, and 2001: A Space Odyssey.
But even then, I'm pretty sure I mentioned Blade Runner because the guy I talked to at my job, I was like, was Scott Ridley?
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. And then I was like, oh yeah, man. Like I heard there's a sequel called like 2067, but I think it was 2000 something else.
2049.
Yeah. And he was like, I was like, is like the sequel? He's like, no, he doesn't make the sequels no more. I'm like, well, he stopped making it? He's like, no, he's dead. I was like, he's dead? I thought he was dead.
Nah. So the sequel, Blade Runner 2049, was directed by Denis Villeneuve, who's known for doing movies like Arrival or Sicario.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite modern directors. He's so good at what he does. But the Blade Runner sequel 2049, I feel like is much more digestible.
That's with Ryan Gosling, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And Ana de Armas, that beautiful lady. Oh my God.
Is she the one with the pink hair?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one I was thinking of. She looked bad as fuck in that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's beautiful.
But what I was gonna say is that there's a really good, how can I say it, like overall review on the movie. Not overall review, but like just a sum up of it. Because it is. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yes, it's a very simple story.
Yeah, like
it's not the end of the world or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's something cataclysmic or whatever. What's the word?
Cataclysmic.
Okay,
yeah, or dystopian. But it was based on Philip K. Dick's 1968 dystopian science fiction novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yes.
Which when I was going to read it, and then a lot of the reviews were saying, like, honestly, if you're here from Blade Runner, don't read this book. Like, it doesn't do it justice. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to read the book.
Yeah.
You know, but damn, I had this, like, really good, just straight up description of the movie. Because it does really well, but I can't find it. Let me try one more time to find it. Okay. My notes. Let's see. You know, fuck it. Let's just describe it ourselves. Well,
okay.
Let me take. Oh, you go first.
Well, I'll just say that, like how you mentioned, the final cut is a very important note to this aspect.
Super.
Because there are different versions of this film.
About like 5 or 7, right?
Yeah, there's a good amount.
There's
actually.
7, but only 5 have ever been released.
Yes. And so the main 3 primarily are the theatrical cut, the director's cut, and the final cut. Those are the main 3 that most people look at.
Yeah.
But then there are other ones such as the work print and international ones and things like that. And so what differentiates these versions, which I think is super interesting, I've seen the director's cut as my first watch, and then I watched the final cut for this watch for the show. I watched the director's cut like back in college, so I honestly can't remember too much of like this was different or this is new.
There's
or
honestly,
anything like
from
that.
what I've seen, only one major difference, which is the ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I've seen that like the biggest difference between the director's cut and the final cut is primarily comes to the ending.
Yeah. Which is basically the narration, and then it's Harrison Ford narration.
Well, that's in the theatrical cut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Harrison, so in the theatrical cut, which is the most different version of any of these films,
Gotcha.
is that Harrison Ford narrates like almost the entire film.
And then they got rid of that shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's just, I've never seen the theatrical version of this movie, and I'm so curious what that's like.
And just to like sort of so people can be filled in. If you haven't watched the movie, it's about a guy named Deckard who's forced by his old police boss to continue his old job as replicant hunter. His assignment, eliminate 4 escaped replicants from the colonies who have returned to Earth before starting the job. Deckard goes to the Tyrell Corporation and meets Raquel. That's a very loose description. Basically, it's like a dystopian future where robots were built, and there's 3 types, like the Nexus, the replicants, right? And then fuck, I fucking had a beautiful ass explanation of the movie. You describe it because I feel like I'm doing it injustice.
Okay, I'll read the opening crawl of the film.
Yeah, because that's really crucial.
So when the film starts off, there's a crawl, kind of like Star Wars and stuff. But they say early in the 21st century, the Tyrell Corporation advanced robot evolution into the Nexus phase, a being virtually identical to a human, known as a replicant. The Nexus 6 replicants were superior in strength and agility, and at least equal in intelligence, by the genetic engineers who created them. Replicants were used off-world as slave labor in the hazardous exploration and colonization of other planets. After a bloody mutiny by a Nexus 6 combat team in an off-world colony, replicants were declared illegal on Earth under penalty of death. Special police squads, Blade Runners units, had orders to shoot to kill upon detection any trespassing replicant. This was not called execution, it was called retirement. And that is sort of like a premise of the world of Blade Runner, where there's a corporation that have created these synthetic humans, these robot androids.
They look exactly like people, but they're robots.
And they are basically using them as slaves to mine resources off world and things like that for Earth. And there was a situation once in the past where a replicant went crazy, and so now
it stole a ship in space and have returned to Earth to find their creator. That's the 6 replicants that he's set to kill, but there's only 4 or 5 that show up, right?
Yes.
And then the theory is that Deckard, the main character, Harrison Ford, is a replicant.
Yes.
And then the crucial element is that these replicants only have 4 years to live, because later on, if they're live any longer, they might gain human intelligence or might gain like
their 4 years is essentially a fail-safe.
Yeah, and that is a big thing, like relative to today with AI. That's a huge thing, which I got mostly from. But that's basically the plot. Harrison Ford has to kill these 4 replicants while pondering whether he is one himself, that he later falls in love, and he has to go kill these guys. The whole movie it's pretty dark, rainy. The whole movie with a bunch of like.
Takes place in LA.
Yeah, it takes place in LA.
2019.
Where it never rains, but for some reason it's raining all the time. Speaking of droughts. And
aridification.
The opposite of aridification for Blade Runner's thing. And I'll say this off the bat. This movie was one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. Like in terms of visuals, like the sci-fi-ness of it was honestly like, if not top 3 most, compared to even today, visually satisfying movies ever. Like, I will say that for sure, because especially that being, that's why I kind of wish we watched the first version of it, so it wasn't so like, like just, what's the word? Refined. Like, it was so beautiful, and because I can only imagine how it looked before, but even without its like boost in graphics, like in terms of like, what's that fuck polishing, I still imagine that it's so creative how all these things looked regardless, and what I did find out is Harrison Ford actually didn't like this role very much either. Did you hear about that?
Yes. I mean, I was also going to mention with Harrison Ford, like Harrison Ford is just, I feel so back and forth to him because like he's a good actor, but it's just like, I know he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just, I wish he cared more. Like,
he, I trust me. I'm going to show you something in a bit that I like some of everything. But yeah, I think the same thing. He told the Boston Globe in 1991, quote, "I played a detective who did no detecting. There was nothing for me to do but stand around and give some focus to Ridley's sets." And I agree. I agree to some extent because like Harrison Ford was a pretty simple character in this whole movie, pretty cliche. I may say with the drinking and this, like, he gets the girl, which obviously is controversial in some sense, probably today more so than anything. But to break it down, like the replicants that he's chasing are kind of like real unique and creative characters. Like they're not really like just like the Terminator would be. Like, I am the Terminator. Like it's pretty much like very exotic characters. Like one is doing backflips all the time and almost like there's another word that I'm fucking up right now, but I can't really like pinpoint. But just exotic human being.
Yes.
And very powerful. They're unique. They're unique. But I'm trying to think of it, but I can't be.
You can't.
I'm a replicant.
Oh my God.
And I think one thing that's cool is because he's supposed to hunt replicants, his way of doing so is to ask a series of questions. The movie opens up like that.
The void conf.
Yeah, the void conf for sure, right? And it's to, really focus on the pupils of the individual you're questioning and ask them. The first scene is like a turtle lies on its back and it can't turn over and the sun is beaming down on him. Like, what do you do? And the guy's like, what's a turtle? Blah, 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 blah. And it's interesting that they chose that to, find a way whether or not a replicant is or isn't. And it changes up crazy because the replicants he's chasing have been instilled with memories. So now they think they have pasts when in reality they just have the memories of other people's past. It's like, and to explain it more, which I think is pretty well explained already, but like giving like AI your memories. So the AI thinks that it's you and that it's lived your life, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I thought of iRobot and stuff like that when it comes to when Will Smith is like, you can't write a book or like you can't paint a beautiful mural, can you? And the iRobot's like, can you? And it was like, whoa, man, that's fucking crazy, man. And then Will Smith slapped it. Boy, don't talk about me like that. Keep
my art out your mouth.
That's pretty funny. Even though the robot looked like Jada Pinkett Smith, it's bald as shit, man. But yeah, I thought that was interesting how honestly speaking, that's how good the visuals were for the movie. In my opinion, I really do think that this movie needed nothing else, and the visuals were good by itself. Like that's how great it was. Like I'll give the visuals a 10 out of 10. Everything else, I'm just kind of like, like I was real. To get into the girth of it, I'm trying to be real slow about it, but I did not like this movie. That's but let's get into a little more actually detail about it because I think it is a very interesting, impactful movie and very influential movie to the movies we have today. And I really try not to think of it as like, oh, we're so spoiled with visuals, but man, this movie looked better than most movies now. I really do think so. So to me, it was just a plot that wasn't enticing as much. You know what I mean? And I don't really have to say like, oh, I should have didn't like this movie. Like I really bared with it, but it was missing a lot, even though it had the potential for so much. That's what I thought about it in its most basic form.
And as soon as you said you had your thoughts and opinions, I knew instantly like, oh, Frankie didn't like it. Because when I looked at Letterboxd, it's so interesting because like while the movie on Letterboxd at least is highly rated, it has like I think I saw 4.1 stars on Letterboxd. A lot of the reviews, people don't really fuck with the movie, and I thought that was so interesting. And like I'll just say like I'm not gonna say that Blade Runner is like one of the best films of all time, or anything like that. It's just when I consider it, to me, why I consider it a classic and why I like it as much as I do is because while it isn't very subtle, it still is such an eye candy.
Yeah, it's like feast. Yeah,
it's such a treat to the eyes in terms of sci-fi and set design and things like that.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite things about this movie is that one of the concept designers of this film is Sid Mead. Sid Mead is also known for creating the concept designs to the older James Bond movies. So all the gadgets and cool, crazy car gizmos, that was all Sid Mead.
And it translates from Blade Runner to that, or whichever came first, to be honest with you.
All the designs, all like the way that the cars look, the buildings, everything was designed by Sid Mead.
There's so much in that world that didn't need to be put into there, and they did it anyway. Well, him in particular, you know what I mean? Like from the cars flying to that big thing in the sky to just like everything. It was, none of it had to, like, it could have been without, and it still would have been beautiful because of the environment, the world. And a lot of people cherish the opening scene where it's closing into LA as an overview.
Yes.
And then the flames are popping out the sky. That was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like, again, like, the thing is that, like, that's why I can't say I don't like this movie, because it really is, like, astounding. And I think anybody that wants to create sci-fi in the future, like, needs to watch this movie. Like, that's for sure. Because that's where most of it comes now. You know what I mean? Like, they pretty much covered most of what you see now without the advancement of technology today. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I'll say, like, while you probably didn't like this movie, I would guarantee you would like 2049.
Yeah? I'll check it out.
I genuinely think you would, just because
Ana de Armas is in it?
Yeah, she's fucking
That's what I'm
so
saying,
beautiful,
bro.
man.
I believe you.
But
although there was not a lack of titties in this movie. There was very...
You still got titties in this movie.
Which was astounding to me because it was so unnecessary. I just really figured, because it's Harrison Ford, they were like, all right, let's give him a pair of titties to work with.
He's got some titties.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a bit.
but yeah, I just, like, comparatively 2049 is much more digestible in terms of being a more modern movie and things like that. And the plot of 2049 is much more invested than the plot of this movie, because I feel like what the highlight about this movie is the atmosphere of everything. It's the sci-fi of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. That's his biggest thing. And in the summer of '82, it wasn't that, when it came out, it wasn't a big success.
No, it was not.
Yeah. And the movies Tron, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and E.T. the Extraterrestrial all came out during that movie. Even The Thing.
Yeah.
The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing came out on that year too. And it also wasn't taken in as well. So that's interesting.
Yeah, they had a $30 million budget, and their box office made only $41.6 million.
That's crazy.
So they barely cut even.
Yeah.
Because normally when a budget is a certain number, they spend about twice as much on advertising. And so when you look at something like 30 million, you have to imagine they spend about 60 million. And so the fact that they made only 41.6 million, you would have to imagine they actually made a loss on this movie.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that 2049 also made a loss in its box office.
That's crazy for it being a movie today. I feel like it would intrigue more people.
Yeah,
you know?
People just didn't really go out to watch 2049, which is really surprising.
Yeah.
But 2049, I would honestly say is probably a better film than this.
Oh, wow. I would check it out. Honestly, I mean, because I really am interested in I thought this was an interesting thing. I think it'll be best to dive into more specific scenes, because there are a couple there where you're definitely memorable. But speaking of the replicants being so lifelike, right? This guy on a website called RogerEbert.com, he's a reviewer. He wrote this, which I think is a very interesting like feedback. This is straight verbatim. He says, "What I have always wondered is why the Tyrell Corporation made their androids so lifelike. Why not give them 4 arms and settle the matter and get more work out of them? Is there a buried possibility that Tyrell's long-range plan is to replace humans altogether? Is the whole Blade Runner caper simply a cover for his scheme? But never mind. What matters to the viewer is that the ground rules seem to be in place and applying one of the most extraordinary worlds ever created in a film." I thought that was just an interesting point, honestly speaking, because they are very lifelike, and when you really try to make a superior being and you make it in the form of a human, you're kind of not doing yourself a favor there, because humans can only do so much.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I won't shit on the movie for. for its lack of representing how superior these humans are, because they can only do so much. Like showing how fast the main replicant was. I think his name was not Pris, but the other one,
Roy Batty.
Yeah, like he was moving fast, but that was just like movie magic that they had to put in there and stuff. I thought it was funny how at the end he leapt over the building, and you're like, that's not even that hard. Like, come on, bro.
I don't know. Could you do that?
I cannot, but I see people in the subway that can, and they're not replicants, bro. One of my favorite parts of the movie though was when Harrison Ford, what's his name again? Deckard. When he was sitting down, of course, drinking whiskey again. When he was looking at his, he had a photograph and he put it into the machine, and he was like he basically was focusing within it with voice command.
Yeah, he was like enhanced.
Yeah, and it was like and he basically found the reflection of a woman taking the picture or like in the background using that navigation. I thought that was an incredible scene. Like that to me was like one of the best scenes in that movie because it was so fucking cool, and it's so today. You know, like with the voice command, with the features of the camera, with the unblurring, and I thought that was an incredible scene.
Yeah, no, it's just again the sci-fi of it is just so
amazing.
Cool. Like the world is so lived in. It's
ahead of its time.
Like,
definitely.
Like, and the fact that it was made early 80s is just so insane.
It's incredible.
It's just I think this movie is such a marvel in terms of visual and like technical aspects. And I would agree that it lacks in terms of a plot and stuff. But I think like all the things that have spun off of Blade Runner have been better. Yeah,
film should be grateful for this movie existing. Like and I really do mean that. Like it's not me just trying to be like, you know, give it bonus points or something like that. Because I honestly don't recommend this movie to people who don't want to be. Like who want a good plot? Like if you want a good plot, do not watch this movie.
If you're trying to watch like a movie that's gonna make you go like, holy shit,
or at
this
some
is not bad.
And if you want at some point the movie to take off, like to me, it never took off. Like this movie, like I just kept waiting and waiting, bro. And I've been getting high before I watch any movie I watch now because it's just like it's gonna make the movie, you know, me more focused and stuff like that. And man, like like I remember, like I was trying to stay up because it was in the morning, so I was a little sleepy. But I was just like, bro, I found myself being like, bro, like, are you kidding me? Like, when the fuck is it gonna end, bro? Like, I hate this, you know? And the only thing that helped me was like how beautiful it looked. But towards the end, it really just became more poetic. A lot of people didn't like how dark the movie was. I didn't really care for it. Like, I thought it was, you know, fitting. It kind of fit with everything. And I think a lot of the factors were really cool, man. That guy was JF, was it Henderson?
JF Sebastian.
I can't remember names for shit. But if there was a horse in there, I would remember.
Right.
I like how his character was very like kind of like, you know, a little dumb, a little this and that.
Yo, man, the fact that he was 25, I was like, you're not my age.
He was 25 years old.
Yeah, he said, I'm 25.
Oh, okay.
The character is 25.
I thought it was an actor.
No. The character is supposed to be 25.
Yeah,
I was like, you're not 25. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and
you're like 30.
And J.F. Henderson is a guy who basically
Sebastian.
I don't know why I'm saying Henderson. J.F. Should just let me go. They basically, the replicants were trying to find their creator, basically their father, what he calls it later on,
Tyrell.
And to get to Tyrell, they had to go through multiple people. So at first they go to some Asian guy who was like creating the eyes.
Who makes like the eyes.
Yeah, and then from then they were led to J.F. Henderson, who basically
Sebastian.
Fuck! I'm not doing this shit. J.F. Sebastian, who basically is a loner, lives by himself, creates toys all around him, and is tricked by the woman replicant, you know, by being this lost, I need help girl, and this and that. And then he eventually leads them to Tyrell, the creator. And I mean, throughout that process, there's a bunch of, does he die? No, right?
No, he doesn't die.
He's just a poor soul, bro. Yeah. And when the replicants finally find Tyrell, it was super odd because he kisses him and then crushes his skull. I was just like, what?
There's a lot of kissing.
Yeah. And speaking of kissing, because we got to go over this part, which I'm sure you know I'm talking about, is the very famous scene of Harrison Ford kissing Raquel. Now, to backtrack, Raquel is one of...
Well, Rachel.
But no, I thought it was Raquel.
It's Rachel.
Oh, God damn it. Rachel is one of Tyrell's experiments, who is basically a replicant herself, and she has these memories
of Tyrell's niece.
And basically she thinks she's a real human being, but through
the
void comp through Harrison Ford, basically the questionnaire that detects whether or not you're a replicant, she's told like you're a replicant, or she finds out basically herself. And this really breaks her heart. And so over time, Harrison Ford out of nowhere falls in love with her. And explain the scene to the people, Javi.
Yeah, on a rewatch, I was definitely like
whoa.
Like I guess I didn't think about it too much when I saw it the first time, but on a rewatch, I was definitely kind of like,
Yeah, this is a little odd.
But yeah, like Rachel is in his apartment, in Deckard's apartment. She starts playing the piano a little bit, and Deckard's like supposedly asleep, and then he gets up and he starts sitting next to her, and he's like, "You play beautifully."
Yeah. And then he starts to kiss her neck, and she
he starts
dips.
to kiss her neck, and then like he pulls back a second, and they look at each other, and then he's about to come back in for a full kiss, and she dips. Yeah. She tries to dip, and Harrison Ford just walks over there and just stops her, closes the door. And then kind of like pushes her up against the wall.
And he doesn't close the door. It's like if a girl's trying to leave and he
slams.
Like, I'm sorry, Link, my bad. He like slams the door and it's like, not letting her leave. And then he pushes her against the wall.
Yeah. And he's like, kiss me. And like, and says like, tell me you want me and whatever.
And she's like, I want you. And then he's like, and then they start touching each other. But definitely a scene where it looks like Harrison Ford is forcing himself upon her and she's just going with it. But then they start actually getting into it.
Why?
Basically, that how Link was barking just now is basically how Harrison Ford
was to Rachel.
Take it off! And honestly, those are the high points in the movie for me, aside from him getting the...
That was the high point?
Well, you know what I mean. Yeah. Just dance off. And no, the ending to me, I mean, there was a beautiful line at the end where he said, I don't know why these notes I did not save, but the ending, there's two lines that are very famous. And one of them is, what's the Roy?
Like Tears in the Rain, Roy Batty?
Yeah, like Tears in the Rain or like what?
Or like memories
in the brain or some shit like that. Yeah, and like they just meld in, basically saying, and that was very beautiful. And the last line of the movie was like the guy says to Harrison Ford, he's like, "All right, keep on living if you're even living anyway." What was it? Do you know?
Yeah, it was something along the lines of like, just kind of like, if you're not dead, you're not living, or something like that.
And the whole idea of it is saying like these replicants have memories and feelings, and are they any less human than you are if they share this commonality? And definitely the message speaks a long way. It just took them too long, even for a short movie. It's an hour 57, but it's even for a movie. I was like, hurry the fuck up, bro. Because at the end of the day, like the Roy guy's time runs out and he dies and he lets go of a dove. Which I will say, the dove flying away was the worst looking thing in the movie. Like that looked fake as shit. But I will say this. So I did something new for the first time.
Okay. Just
to save voice for this thing. So what I did is I recorded an immediate reaction after the movie.
Okay.
So I want you to hear this. Be mindful I record on my phone, so a lot of the pff are very strong. The P pushes, whatever. All right.
Pops.
P pops. All right. So this is what I said after the movie.
All right. So I just finished watching the Blade Runner with Harrison Ford. The credits are playing in the background. What's up, Javi? I know you're listening to this right now because I'm meant to play this on the podcast. Let me pause this movie. All right. So I wanted to record an immediate reaction. Just off the bat, after finishing watching it, these are my thoughts. This movie was astoundingly beautiful. Like, in all aspects, the visuals were amazing. Like, the world that was built around it, even the little details within the, shops and it being, like, Japanese, I guess, like, Chinatown, Japanese town, I don't know. Yeah, like, everything was beautiful, down to, like, the characters' makeup, to everything. What was the biggest disappointment was just the everything else. Because the movie went nowhere, man. The whole movie is Harrison Ford just going places. It's like, I've never seen Lord of the Rings, but I imagine this is just a more futuristic Lord of the Rings. I think what I got is from, like, in terms of the plot and how to relate it today, is that basically, maybe with robots that were created that, are, they're being experimented on, to have all these memories, to be convinced that they exist or have had past lives. To me, it's similar to like iRobot and AI today, where, at what point do we determine when life is, even with the robot saying, I think, therefore I am. But it's, altogether, this movie was just, I mean, respectfully, goddamn garbage, bro. This movie was so boring to me. Like, I stayed through the whole thing. I got high before it. And then immediately I was impressed when it started. Like, when it first started, it looked pretty dope. And I was like, okay, let me see what I'm getting myself into. But you know when you wait for a movie to just get better, where you're just waiting for that good part to start? I was waiting and waiting, and, you know, I never do this really, but I checked the time that I was at, and I was already 1 hour and like 13 minutes in. So I was like, okay, maybe within 40 minutes, somehow this movie can redeem itself. And it just wasn't really that impressive at all. I feel like it was a bunch of world and beautiful representation of, you know, sci-fi, everything with the backbone of a plot with potential, and just disappointing execution. I was just, honestly, I'm so happy. The best part of this movie is the credits rolling because I'm finally done watching it. I don't know. I have no idea. I think the movie, it said it came out in 1987, but I think it says 2007. So if it is 1987, fuck it. And we probably have corrected this by the time we started because I don't have my notes in front of me. But if it is 1987, props to them for creating a visually astounding movie. And even if it's 2007, it's still, you know, just as good as today. But I cannot for the life of me find anything good about this movie. I hated even the ending, how this guy just, you know, obviously he was going to die because his time ran out. And the last line was like, oh, you know, live, you know, what is it like? If any of us live anyway, I don't know, man. And then Harrison Ford just forcing himself upon that girl. I'm sure he didn't, and I'm sure that's the whole point of the movie. But this movie is literally just following Harrison Ford, abide cliche old movie antics, which is just, he kisses a girl, he's always drinking, he's just mysterious. And one of the cool parts was that little TV part where it was kind of like voice controlled, where he was like going into the picture and find out the lady's face. But I hated every bit of this movie. Aside, like, if this movie was on mute and I was high as fuck, I would enjoy the movie more than if it was trying to be one, because it was just terrible, like Charles Barkley. Sorry, that's a noise that I do when I'm watching a movie at home. Anyway, obviously we're going to continue the conversation. Hopefully you'd have paid me back my $27 by now. But yeah, man, honestly, when it comes to Harrison Ford, I'd rather just see him in Star Wars. Maybe just a little cringe actor in itself too. And yeah, a lot of titties in the movie too. I respect that. And yeah, so let's continue the conversation.
For those who don't know, Javi owes me $27. Now $42. And the titties thing, I had to throw in the titties. But
man.
And then so the reviews, I got some reviews too if you want to hear them. But unless you want to mention anything about the movie, what do you think about media reaction though?
That was pretty funny. I just, man, like, again, like, you know, when I first saw this movie, I was just kind of like, cool. Like, I really digged it. I definitely wasn't like, I wasn't like blown away by the plot or anything, but I was just like, that was really cool.
Yeah. It definitely is a cool movie for sure. Yeah.
And like, I just never really looked past it, past much that.
Yeah.
And so after looking at the reviews on Letterboxd, I'm like, oh man, like, people actually don't really like this movie, I guess.
And even when it came out, but then there's a lot of people that like say it's one of the best films, sci-fi in particular. I think definitely it's up there. It just, man, like it's like a sandwich that looks beautiful on the outside. And you take the first bite and it's real good, and then you're like, oh, this is vegan. I don't know. But again, that's why I don't shit on it, because, you know, for a movie that I didn't really enjoy, it honestly does have the visual aspect that really is the savior of the whole thing. And I do recommend anybody watch this movie if they really just want to see like amazing visuals, you know. I looked up just only bad reviews, just because I thought it was pretty funny, and a lot of people are so funny, man. So I got like 6, right? Okay. Some longer than the others. The beginning one is the longest one, but it says, Blade Runner was a disappointment to me. He did not look like a blade. It should have been named Child Runner. The running was not as speedy as I thought it could have been. I want him to look a bit like Sonic the Hedgehog. He needs to read the Hungry Caterpillar book and also watch Chop Kick Panda. I love them books. Oh, and I thought that the guy was kind of scary. You're welcome for the review. It made Rosie pee her pants because she was scared.
What the fuck?
That was a random ass review. All right, this one. With this movie and a couple, this is by Leave. The other one was by Guy Spence, believe. 1 star, all 1 star. With this movie and a couple I watched, I've come to the conclusion that every sci-fi movie before 2000 are all vastly overrated. Very boring premise and not entertaining one bit. Probably rocked the theaters in 1982, but it doesn't hold up well now. Couldn't last an hour watching this. Now next, Alexander Ulysses Smith, 2 years ago. Dull English lit and philosophy 101 level material with extremely obvious symbolism and imagery. I'm baffled people describe this movie as, quote, profound. Next one, 2 years ago, Matthew Kerner. Never seen it before. I'm assuming it is good. I just like Han Solo better. I am not an actual critic. I am a 13-year-old child. This is all 2 years ago, which is interesting. Kathy Carriage. Most interesting about it was that it's set in 2019 in LA, where it rained constantly. And the last one is Melvin Sudapera, which is 8 months ago. Very boring movie. It starts with a good story and great potential, but then this movie just dies. So slow, so boring, so not intense at all. And yeah, those are. I mean, I don't obviously agree with all these movies, but it just, to me, the plot was just so just bland. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but yeah, no, I mean, it could have been way worse, which is a compliment. You know, honestly speaking.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, some of the best thing about Blade Runner are the things that have come out of it, like Blade Runner 2049, or the comics that have come out of it.
Oh, there's comics of it?
Yeah, or the shorts, the animated shorts that have come out of it as well. Because what's really cool is that Blade Runner 2049 takes place 30 years, obviously. It's 2049, 2019.
Oh, yeah.
But the time from 1982 to when Blade Runner 2049 was made, 2049 came out in about 2017, if I remember correctly. So it was about 30 years, almost 40 years since they made the movie. So they kind of kept those 30 years in that idea of like okay,
real.
30 years has passed in this world. And what they did in preparation for 2049 is that they released 4 short animated films on YouTube that take place during big events in the world in between those 30 years.
That's cool as fuck. Because you're right, there is a lot of stuff you can do with the world. And I don't know if Futurama was created past this. I'm pretty sure it was. But Futurama definitely takes a huge influence off Blade Runner.
I mean, Blade Runner came out in 82, so Futurama didn't come out until like the late
90s, maybe, probably late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
but
late 90s.
Like honestly, because of Blade Runner, we have Futurama. That, you know, that obviously does not fact check, but Matt Groening, first of all, shout out to Matt Groening, big sexy over there, best cartoonist in the world, one of the best cartoonists in the world. But like I think of Blade Runner, like I think of Futurama, I have to think Blade Runner. You know, and yeah, a whole bunch of other things. So its influence is astounding, man, and it's that's why like I'm pretty happy that I watched it too. Obviously, any movie we watch for the podcast is always a great thing, you know, to experience. Just because like I wouldn't really, I mean, you always recommend movies and stuff like that, and it always slips my head. And to me, many other people. But the best thing about this podcast is like we watch it to talk about it. Yeah, and it's like now I have that in my brain and stuff like that, and it's awesome. It's fucking real cool.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that we are at a point in the show where like we're looking at things in the A.M.C section where sometimes one of us might not like it too much.
And that's how it is.
Like, like how I wasn't a fan of Fear, Loathing, Las Vegas.
Bro, and I find myself watching that. I watched that movie the other day. Like I watched it in intervals on my break, and I'm reading the book because of it, and I'm watching Hunter S. Thompson interviews. And like, you know, you didn't like it, and that's honestly just how it goes. It'd be amazing if we were just like, oh yeah, we love everything, you know. And but the thing is that we're reviewing, we're being honest too, you know. It's not like we're trying to please the people who made the movie or anything. It's like fuck it. But that, I couldn't believe myself, man, because I wish I could just have time lapse my reaction to the movie, because I'm not like even exaggerating things. I was just like rolling my eyes, and I was just like, oh, like, you know, it's so funny, man.
The Blade Runner comics are so good.
I gotta check them out
Because the Blade Runner comics start in 2019, but they don't follow Deckard. The comics follow a completely different Blade Runner.
Yeah.
They call her Ash for short. She's an Asian Blade Runner. Her name's like Ashina, something like that.
Yeah.
But they call her Ash for short.
That's dope.
And so each arc is like, I think 12 issues, and each arc are 10 years. Ooh. So they go through 2019 to 2029 to 39 to 49.
That sounds really fucking cool, because then like they can pick up from, you know, what Blade Runner was or wasn't, and just, you know, really just make a better story.
Yeah, and
there's so much room for story.
And they mention things in the comics from the animated short films and stuff, so it's all connected. That's dope. It's like it's so cool.
Yeah. What was that Japanese lady on the screen eating the pill? Like, what was that?
Japanese lady
like
eating
on the big floating billboard on the middle of the town. You remember that about? It's like the big. They always showed it. It's like a Japanese face lady.
I can't.
What? It was like in every scene, and it was like she was like and then she put a pill in her mouth.
I don't know, man.
What the fuck, bro?
I remember the Coca-Cola sign.
Everybody remembers the Coca-Cola.
I remember the Atari sign.
Yeah, I remember the Atari sign. Hold on, wait. Let's see. Japanese lady, the final cut. There's no way you don't. I'm astounded. What the hell? Hold on, wait. Oh, I don't want to spoil anything. This lady. Hold on, wait. First of all, Japanese posters for this movie, fire. Yeah, that's super fire. All right, hold on. This lady.
Oh,
fucking the bro. Like the only Japanese
I don't
lady.
know.
Yeah, me neither. That's so crazy
know.
to remember. I'm ashamed.
Yeah.
Like she was like in every other scene, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I looked at it, I was like, cool.
Not important. Hold on.
It was just
Wait.
time right now. And the last, what is it like? Event before? He's just mysterious.
Well, I'm trying to find
One of
the.
the cool parts was that little TV. I would enjoy the movie more than if it was rotation. Hopefully, you'd have paid me back my $27.
That's just real funny.
How much do I owe you? I'm gonna send it right now.
There's no sweat or anything, but $42. No sweat.
How much?
$42.
42? I'm sending it right now, motherfucker. I'm sending it right now.
For the kids.
For the Frankie. 42 beans. Memo. I'm gonna put a fucking alien invader.
Do it. And a Japanese lady.
Review and send. $42 sent to your account, my friend.
That's all. I only took Blade Runner.
And all it took was Harrison Ford to shout at me to do it.
Yeah. And so, thank you. But again, I think what I'm really grateful doing, I mean, it wouldn't have hurt the podcast. I don't think so. I mean, I'm really glad we don't do ratings. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, obviously every now and then we probably could if we wanted to. But I think it's really good because I think ratings are such a vague scale of things to really sum up a movie. Even though people do it all the time with their friends. And I'm pretty sure 7 out of 10 people rate a movie when they leave a theater. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I'll give it 8.34s. I saw The Whale. I told you I saw The Whale, right?
I saw The Whale too.
How was that movie? Yo, that shit was crazy, bro. All right, I'm happy. When did you see it?
I saw it on Monday.
You saw it in theaters? Of course,
yeah,
right?
in theaters.
First of all, this is going to be the double A.M.C. section with the last one being The Whale. Okay, Blade Runner, thank you. Stanley Rodrigue, whatever. Riddle, Rubik's Cube.
Ridley Scott. Put some respect on his name. He made Alien.
Yeah,
he made Gladiator.
Matrix 2, if I'm mistaken.
No, he did not. He made Alien. He made Gladiator. He did House of Gucci. He did
I never watched House
The
of Gucci.
Last Duel.
Fuck that guy. No, I'm kidding. Respect to you. Okay, how good was Brendan Fraser in The Whale?
For spoilers for The Whale, cut over to 3 hours, 50 minutes, and 40 seconds. Yo, man. I'll just say with The Whale,
yeah,
I wasn't blown away.
Of course.
I wasn't like floored. I kind of maybe hyped myself up a little bit. I was like, I've been hearing good things about this movie.
Okay.
It's Darren Aronofsky. Mm-hmm. The last Darren Aronofsky movie I watched was Mother with Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem.
How was that one?
Super weird.
Okay.
Technically it's very good plot wise. Hit or miss.
All right.
Hit or miss.
But, okay, so The Whale. And then I looked up one of the reviews I read about him after I watched the movie. What's his name again?
Darren Aronofsky.
Is that he's a great manipulator of emotions.
Yes.
That was like a pretty cool thing.
I saw one review that he excels at miserableism is what someone defined it as.
Absolutely. Yeah. Honestly speaking, it isn't a movie where you're like, wow, this is incredible, like this and that. I mean, it's based off a play, which I didn't know. Mm-hmm. So it all takes place in one room, ultimately.
Yes.
But honestly, with it being just its own thing, it was an emotional roller coaster where like the fall is just seemingly forever. And man, I cried like 4 times during that movie. Like I was wiping tears, bro. Like I remember like all it would have taken was for somebody to go and I would have started crying with them, bro. Like there was moments where whole theater dead silent. I'm wiping my tears. This lady's wiping her tears. I'm sniffling. I even had the eyebrow thing where you're like, like about to cry. And I thought one of the coolest things was that everybody stopped eating their snacks. Everybody stopped eating their snacks, but I got a little high before it, so then I ate my snacks after.
It was me and one other guy that kept eating in our theater.
No, afterwards and then the guy behind me, man, was eating like he was like.
I won't lie though, those scenes when he was just eating.
Oh my god,
so gross.
When he puts the ranch on the pizza and and he almost chokes on the. Obviously spoilers. We'll put a little spoilers thing to it but I definitely think it's a very powerful movie, and it really stands on its own 2 feet. It doesn't need to be compared to anything else. It really is a great performance. And somebody who didn't even watch the movie did a great response to it, like, and just very quickly. They were like, Brandon Fraser's character was so powerful because his eyes are so big, and like when he's crying in those scenes, and oh man, like it was just a great movie to watch.
I didn't expect to see Max from Stranger Things in there.
I didn't even watch Stranger Things, so I had no idea.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Max from Stranger Things is in the movie. Sadie Sink is her name. When I said that to Lucas like, you didn't know that? Her name is literally on the poster. And I was like, I don't know her fucking name. I just know her as Max from Stranger Things.
That's the daughter?
Yeah, the daughter.
I thought the weakest performance was by the mother. She had the weakest performance, but her character had so much plot behind it that it really didn't matter. I think the girl did. Honestly, when it started the movie, I was like, all right, what the fuck is this? I was like, where's it going? And then I was like, oh my God. No, Brandon Fraser, no. And the whole basis of the essay being the most beautiful word. And then you find out it's his daughter's writing. Oh my God. Don't do it. No, man. Even with the whole, like, the religion coming into play.
Yeah.
Wow, man. So great. And then when the guy comes back and he's like, I know why this and this. It's because you guys are, going against God for being gay and this and that. And then the guy was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Oh my God.
I was so curious to see how that religious route
was gonna come in and everything. Yeah. Right? Man, I really so he actually got a lot of lack for playing an obese character, and people were mad that they didn't hire an actual obese person.
I don't know about
That's
that.
what I'm saying, bro. Because at first when I saw the trailers, I was like, oh, he's big. And then you see how fat he is in the movie. I'm like, bro, anybody this fat is not going to be alive enough to play a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's impossible to replicate, man. He was huge.
I'm sure that there are people that big.
For sure.
But to get someone that big to play in an actual
they might die on set. Like that's how bad it was.
Brendan Fraser almost died.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well it was a heat.
Yeah, because the fat suit was so much for him that it was literally killing him as he was sitting down.
It's incredible, man. So this was what I told Beatrice after the movie. I was like, how do you think this would affect people, right? You get a theater and you fill it with a bunch of like morbidly obese people, the whole theater. And then and then obviously during the quiet scenes, all you hear is and then the eating and stuff. Or like play the movie and record the audio of the theater, like without capturing the sound of the movie, and then play it back to them after they watch it. Do you think that would help those people to motivate them to lose weight, or just fuck with them even worse than when they started?
Oh my God,
that's a tough one, right?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I feel like it probably fuck with them more than anything,
like depress them and stuff. You know what I mean? But that'd be interesting. And I and this is not poking fun or anything. Obviously, I'm trying to lose weight. You know what I mean? Like I'm not obviously as big as the whale, but even myself, I told Beatrice, I'm like, I'm happy I lost a little weight before I watched the movie, because I was like, boy, I would have, No, but I think that just like scientifically speaking, that would be actually really amazing to figure out. I don't think that's legal. I think they don't have to willingly participate, and that would skew the outcome. But it's really, again, I just really think it just stands on its own. Any movies, whether you like it or not. But I'm really proud of Brandon Fraser. Like that guy. I'm really happy you watched it, man. Because I thought you were gonna just wait till TV, but that movie you gotta really watch in a theater.
Yeah, no, Lucas on Monday was like, "Yo, you want to go to the movies?" And I was like, "You know what? Fuck it, I do want to go to the movies."
What did Lucas think?
He wasn't blown away either. He thought it was a little weird, the movie in general. Like, I could tell that it didn't really impact him as much as it might have impacted me or something. But he was definitely kind of like, it was a weird movie. I don't really know why they made it and whatever.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, and I told him that's Darren Aronofsky. He makes weird movies. Like, he makes just 100%. Super intro perspective movies that just make you kind of go like, shit.
Yeah, man. But especially in America, especially in America. I thought it was brilliant with the ending being in white. First of all, ending was beautiful how he died off. That was kind of like a little cinematic, like playish type of thing. But I just think the whole thing about it was that it shines so brightly in white that the whole theater is just crying. And you know what I mean? And you can just see it, like everybody's faces is like full of tears and stuff
Lucas
like that.
actually chuckled in the last scene because he thought it was funny how he just kind of lifted up off the ground.
Bro, I'm telling you, and for me, like I love when a movie makes me feel, of course, like anybody, but I really cry my eyes off. And then I was waiting for the people next to me to wipe the tears so I could, because I was like, bro, I'm bitching out right now.
You're a bitch.
Yeah. Oh my god, that movie was crazy. So yeah, I'm really grateful I went to go see it in theaters, man, because that was one of my favorite movies this year. If not, I think that might be my favorite movie I saw this year, which honestly is not saying much because I've only seen Avatar, The Whale, and that's it. I think I'm gonna see it. Yeah, so I'm gonna go watch Ant-Man Sunday, which I'm sure will not topple The Whale because they're their own categories. You know what I mean? I think I'm gonna cry during the Ant-Man and stuff. Although the trailer for the Ant-Man is kind of hilarious because you've seen that, of course, right?
Yeah.
And it's the part where what's his name again? Paul
Rudd.
Paul Rudd. It's like they meant to do a cheesy action line where he's like, I don't know what he says, I forget, but he's like in deep shit and he's like, well, it looks like we're not gonna do it anyway. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? This is so weird.
I will say that like apparently the reviews for Ant-Man have not been super good so far.
I mean, even the second one was kind of weak. I like the first one a lot more.
Yeah, the second one was a little weak. I feel like the best parts of the second one they showed in the trailer. Probably. And so it's like if you see the trailer, you've seen the whole movie almost.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But I with the third one, apparently it's the second lowest rated MCU movie. The first one being Eternals.
It's pretty repetitive too to the first one. There's some repetition in terms of like the gimmicks and the act and everything.
Well, I'm talking about the third one.
Oh no, I'm talking about the second one. But the third one is rated the lowest.
The second lowest in the MCU. Wow.
But it's not out. So those are just reviewers and everything.
Yes, those are the critics saying that. The critics have rated the third Ant-Man as the second lowest MCU movie. The first one being Eternals.
That's disappointing to walk into.
So there's definitely been a lot of back and forth of like what this movie's actually gonna be like for the audience and stuff. So
fingers crossed.
We'll see. We'll see how people like it this weekend.
And I'll throw one more in there. I read a review on what is it? Knock on the Cabin.
Knock at the Cabin.
I read a review just because I was like, fuck it, and it was it's an M Night Shyamalan movie, and it was just bad. Like the review was basically just saying how like what happened to this guy. Like that's literally the reviews. Like this is the same guy that made The Sixth Sense. Like this is the guy who like left you on your seat, and it basically like they said the trailer gives away all the movie. And there was this really clever line where it was like Batista is supposed to be like the most gentle one out of all the killers. And it's like, yeah, might as well put a ribbon on a tank. It was really well written review. I mean, thank you, Apple News Plus, because they gave me all, like, I never would read the New Yorker ever, but I think the shit that they say is really cleverly written. And if you want to read a good article for some strange reason on Salman Rushdie, read the New Yorker, Salman Rushdie, like who is he and stuff. Fucking amazing, man. But yeah, fuck that movie. I wanted to see Old, and Beatrice told me it was trash. And then, I mean, it already started.
The movie where people get old at the beach.
And it really all started with The Happening, that garbage ass movie. Have you seen
Happening? Which one was that one?
With Matt Damon? Oh no, Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. The Happening.
You don't remember?
Don't know.
Oh man. If you haven't watched it, I encourage you tonight. Get high, watch that movie, and text me immediately what you think.
Yo, man, you know what was so funny? I remember during the pandemic in 2020, when I showed my baby cousin Nicholas, who's not a baby, I just call him baby cousin. But I showed him Signs for the first time.
What Signs?
The M. Night Shyamalan movie with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix.
I've never seen it.
Oh,
yeah,
wow!
Is it good?
Oh man,
I gotta check it out. Woo. That was when M. Night Shyamalan was good.
Yeah, that was like one of his movies, man.
I've only seen Sixth Sense.
Yeah. Oh
I
wow.
See dead people.
Yeah. No, I showed him Signs, and I told him, it's like it's a pretty like spoopy movie, like just warning you, whatever. Yeah. And he was like, whatever, man. Oh. And like by the end of the movie, he was like, yeah, it wasn't that scary.
What?
But then the next day, he was like, yo, man, I couldn't sleep last night. I couldn't sleep.
I'm real excited for that new Joaquin Phoenix movie. What's it? A Boy Named... Have you seen the trailer?
Which one?
A Boy Named Bowie or something like that? You haven't seen the trailer?
Nah.
Put that shit on your iPad right now. That's how we'll end the show. That's how we end the show. Put that shit.
I don't watch trailers.
No, you gotta watch the trailer, bro. You gotta watch the trailer.
What's it called?
Look up Joaquin Phoenix trailer, and it'll pop up. Because it comes out in a couple months.
Spell his name.
Jaou. Wow.
Wow.
I think it's like a boy named Bub or like a man named Boy.
Bo is afraid.
Yeah, I gotta watch that shit with you. Mind you, I was high as fucking. I mean, I seen it before, but all right, put it full screen, bro. Put the sound. Oh, I'm so fucking hyped to watch this fucking movie,
dude. I'm sold.
Yeah, what? Right. Like it's like I know the trailer's a song and I hate to watch it, bro. I got high before the whale, and I keep saying, but I was in the theater and this is my facial expression watching the trailer. Like I'm just like, oh my god. And then I remember when I finished, I told bitches, I'm like, oh my god, bro, like what the fuck? That was just I have to leave the building. Like I'm so excited for that movie, man.
What the fuck, man?
Tell me not. Like it's such a like you get told a lot of things, but you're just like, I need to know what happens in this movie. I'm so excited, bro. I don't know if you can tell, but
as soon as I saw the name Ari Aster, I said, "Oh, really?
Oh my god, bro! I'm so fucking excited to see this fucking movie." Yeah, bro. That was Blade Runner.
Thanks, Ridley Scott and Harrison Ford.
You did it.
We couldn't have done it without you guys.
J.F. Henderson.
Sebastian.
What was the name? Fuck, I can't even remember the name of the horse from
Jean Jacket?
Jean Jacket. There we go. Shout out to Nope. That was a good movie too.
Oh yeah.
This is a B-Ho A.M.C section. Oh my god, I can't wait till I don't even know when April, right?
Yeah, April.
Man. Yo, we out. Got to watch that movie? All right, well, I'll watch that shit the first day it comes out, bro. Holy shit. For those that don't know, look up Beau's Afraid with Joaquin Phoenix trailer. G Cray. God damn, that shit is crazy. All right, well.
We fucking did it. We fucking did it. We did another goddamn episode up in this bitch.
And if you haven't followed us already, follow us on Earth Mind Matter Pod on TikTok and Instagram, Earth Mind Matter Pod on True Social and the purple Twitter. Mastodon, fucking Earth Mind Matter on YouTube. And yeah, bro, hit us up, tell us some shit, send us some titties. Man
Have
or female.
you seen Blade Runner? Let us the fuck know.
Bitch ass motherfucker. And thank you. Donate to Haiti.
Hey, whoa. No, wait. I got one more thing to say.
What's up?
I got one more thing to say.
What you gotta say?
End it.